it up, I'm at my own pace. I can feel your energy, you fucking up the feng shui. Look, hit the huddle and make more plays. Stuff it in the duffel, smell like Marley when I bought planes. I'm big body, I take all lanes. Try to pull beside me, but I'm outie like them 4 brains. Got the beat from powers and it's banging like a gun range. Niggas looking sour like they smoking butts from '08. Pay me by the hour, every second there's some dough made. Inflorescent treasures, white diamonds look like cocaine.
Thinking for a while that I've been feeling all I've got is love for everything that's happened. I'm lighter now because of how forgiveness, 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 forgiveness. Forgiveness, forgiveness, giving forgiveness, forgiveness, I don't want that shit on my heart. Till all them skies above your heart hurt me.
Yo, no Greek sauce, no Diddy, no freak offs, no R. Kelly, but I piss on peons. Better be gone and get violated like King Bong. Ding dong, boot at the door at the crack of dawn is doomsday. Let's make the movie in Blu-ray. True facts, I don't do hate, but what I do great. Music maestro, get in flight mode. We gon' take a trip tonight, yo. Blast off like nitro. Push the button, I'm booking something before you know it. I done took a done. Word cousin, we trouble running. Duck cutting like winter's coming. American, Brooklyn, London. Savage oppressed, radical text. Turning you out, seeing bones and flesh. Exoskeleton, biotech. Idle hands make the devil sweat. Plus makeup and he's wet. King of swords, Dark Lord. Master of the dark arts. I am what I am, God. Moving right along, I write a song as I light a bong. Drinking Tiger Bone, Mr. Microphone Master with the flow, tattoo fire on your soul like Bam Bam Bigelow. What's the dealio? I'm the Billy Goat, Darth Vader, Dark Saber.
Prove me wrong, I'm waiting like a dream. Lost in time, or so it seems. Echoes of ripples in the water drifting.
Oh, so feel like I lived thousands of years. Maybe I lived to 111 to do it again. Off in the future, I had to travel the portal again, making some music in 2310. Damn, maybe they figured out world peace by then. Off on this mission so solo, what happened to all of my friends? Sitting back watching Sit Bad on my DVD, Shazam. Damn. Cutting these cords, reality change, removing the veil. I'm seeing some things, expressions will change. Everything, everywhere, all at once, just to keep it simple and plain. Wow.
Lost in time, or so it seems. Echoes of ripples in the water drifting. Photos, artifacts, roads on the map. History, all the shit for them.
All right, peace and chaos. Shout out to the family. What's up with the YouTube fam? We up in here early. Put a thumbs up if my mic is okay. Quick sound check real quick. Put a thumbs up. Got some people coming up in here right now. Let me do a roll call. I see you, Jarvian. I see you, Leah. Miss Aline is up in there. Got some of the Patreon family. Got my brother Brian. Shout out to my moderators, Janae. Moonchild, Empress, Look Within, Main G, you say it's been a minute. Welcome back, brother. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I see y'all up in there. So give us a quick shout out to the Nagas and Fangs on Patreons. You guys have been excellent. We're making great progress in what we're trying to do with the spiritual work and any or all other priests and priestesses that's been putting in that work as well, because I know I only do these videos once a month now on YouTube. But we're back once again, people. This is now officially the last month of the year of the X, the year of the dragon. Didn't that year go fast, family? It's almost like a phantom matrix. Like I was telling somebody in the spiritual shop earlier when I visited, I was like, this year went extremely fast. Am I getting older or is time speeding up? I see y'all up in there. They said extremely too fast, man. It was crazy. Just blink your eyes and this is the next year. Real crazy stuff. Yeah, right. This year was like the fastest year I've ever experienced in life. And maybe it will be like that every year, but I'm not sure, you know. There's circumstances. You said it's the time? Right. What's going on, Lala? Right. But yeah, we're almost at the end of the year of the X. You know, with all of this time distortion, because they say we're in the last days of the apocalypse. The apocalypse can happen, numerous times. That's just like a awakening or a inward sight, a recognizing of a folding or infolding of one reality into another. That's the apocalypse. So, but I hope you guys enjoyed your time spent during the holidays, or i.e. holy days. You'll have those staunch, holier than thou Negroes saying, those are pagan holidays. Well, not just melanated people, it'd be all types of people. You guys are worshiping pagan holidays. If I sit down and eat some turkey with my family, ain't seen my family in a while. Y'all be getting around those people, especially on social media. These people be acting like book wizards, referencing stuff that we talked about 10 years ago. People be coming to my page, hey, this, that, and that. I know some people are just becoming aware. I'm not picking on them people, but I'm like, yeah, we know that. I'm not supposed to be like, oh my gosh, really? Is that real? When did we figure this out? And some of these people be agents. I'm not going to say no names, but I've been noticing a certain person on Facebook. I've been noticing some certain people, but mainly one person on Facebook. You got to keep your eyes open, especially these people that be taking on these Matrix names from the movie. Keep your eyes open. That seemed like a full-out government agent. Is either a government agent or they made a serious regression. He said pagan and proud. The word pagan, I'm going to get into the word pagan real quick. I'm going to talk about the word pagan. We're going to talk about holidays as we're in the holiday season. We're in a polar stellar time with the Christmas tree. Let me show my image. Let me see if I got my image of my Christmas tree. Got some great information for you guys today. But we're in polar stellar time, family. This is the Syrian time. This is a time our ancestors recognize it's time to go get that energy. It's time to transmutate. We're going to get into some of the multiverse information today, but polar symbolism, Vastu, feng shui, getting your house right. That's what the whole Christmas thing, the Christos, the chrism oil, the vortex, the centripetal force. We're going to break that fully down today. You're going to hear some information I never gave out on that. In the directions. It's a multiverse mystery with this thing. I'm cracking some stuff in decoherence within physics with what it is to phase in and out of those conscious fields. We've been picking up on that with Patreon recently. Shout out to them folks. He said a lot of people started turning the woke thing into straight encouragement for the chosen ones. Right, Sage Mo. Right. Honey says, yes, a couple of them. I wish I had my old phone so I can show you the messages. One of these doctors on Facebook, right. Said one day he was talking about the Great Mother and the next the Christos. Yeah. And the next it was thank you, Jesus. You know what I'm talking about, Jewel. What's going on, Demarius? And Lion from the Southern Kingdom. What's going on? Yeah, Nagas and Fangs. Right. You said your mom used to, y'all gave up on the Christmas. It feels good. You put some lights up and we gift each other all year instead. That's beautiful. I'm not coming against anyone who doesn't do it, but don't try to come at my ass if I want to get up with my family, these people. Oh, you're not no real spiritual teacher or something like that. I'm like, man, I don't give a fuck what you think I am. I don't even go by a title. I'm pure chaos. They really ain't ready for the real information. They up here stuck in some type of perception that they've arrived. We're always changing, getting other points and angles of this thing. We haven't arrived anywhere. We're arriving, but we haven't arrived. You know what I'm talking about? Hit that like button real quick, family, and share the video out so we can go in. So yeah, you have these folks talking about pagan holidays. First of all, the word pagan, its etymology traces back in the ancient world. Go get Gerald Massey's seven book series. He has a 7-book septenary series on information on paganism. You know, you got the pagan times during Europe. That was different than the pagan times, or what the Christians call the pagan times in the indigenous 13 moon, when we had the 13 moon calendrical cycles. You know, on the Turtle Island, you know, the 13 aspects of the turtle shell, the tortoise shell, talking about the real calendar before we got into the Gregorian one, the indigenous information. It's all phantom matrix. But it's simply, the paganism was simply a direct duration of time when polytheism occurred in nature. Polytheistic thought, according to the theologians in academia, wasn't even what it actually was. Whatever they say in their little peer reviews and shit, that wasn't even what it was. These people, these ancient people, worshiped the one God, but the other deities in their polytheism represented the attributes that one God displayed in our lives. So God can unveil itself in different ways. If we even want to use that word God, that Nordic Scandinavian term or Gothic term, God or Gad, Goth or Got, you can use whatever you want to use with these spells and these words. But the polytheism, the different deities was the same energy, the same light. They were just showing you the different angles of it. They were much more advanced than us. We just look at one perception and say, oh, that one little perception, that's what the light is. That's what the enlightenment is. And we're going to sit back and wait on Jesus for that light to come. When the light's sitting inside of you, streaming, let me out. I've been chilling too long. We better go in today, family. Ruger said, if you can name something, you can demonize it. It's all authoritative binding language. Got to know the name, the demon to exercise it, right? The name of the demon to exercise it. Yeah, Ruger be dropping that heat up in the chat. There go my brother. What's going on, Jaghetto? Yes, sir. Peace, peace. So we are the dribbling laggards. We allowed the patristic Christendom, the patriarchal order of the Vatican, to tell us what reality was or is. You see, some people, when they quote unquote become conscious, they arrive only at a state of thinking. Some crucial notes right here, because we're going to be cooking later on. You're going to need to pull out your notepad on your phone, because these words we got to go through. Some people going to start bucking their eyes a little bit like, I don't know what that is, but it's all good. We're going to make it through it today. That's why we got the chat. And I might do a Q&A today. I might just invite y'all up at the end. We can rock out, close it out that way. But these people that finally became conscious, I met a brother at the spiritual shop. He was trying to ask me what type of sage should I buy. You know, it was a prototypical hood guy, you know. He looked like a normal looking hood guy, and he was going through a rough time. And I was telling him, listen, before you do all of that, you got to get the energy in your house right. Some people think this burning sage is going to do it. You got to get your house right. That means you got to know what direction your head is in. It's called Vastu. I mentioned that earlier with the Christmas tree. That's what the springtime it was. That's what the holy days were, getting the energy faculties right and where the poison arrows, the 90 degrees in these boxed caves we call homes and apartments. That's all they did. They put us in caves and reduced the capacity of our pineal propensity, because when you're in nature in the forest, the elementals from a universal perspective can communicate more and open up certain light codes. That's why the biggest magic happened in forests, rivers, mountains, and nature places. You see what I'm saying? They locked the energy down. They phase locked us in. They knew the chakras come in your body already tilted, like the Earth's axis. You know what I'm talking about? If my son running here, guys, I might push pause for a second. Y'all know how that goes. My son will come up in here, and I got to check on him, make sure he's all right. So I don't know where his mother is right now. But then you have these people reach this state of thinking, because once you get your home in order, you're going to realize and recognize that the transformation of what you move around in the home is going to raise the awareness for you to receive the spirit sight, the prescience, like they say in the movie Dune. We're going to go into Dune this week. Today, we're going to break down the movie Wicked. I'm going to break that down for you. I'm going to go in a little bit of that. We might talk about From TV series and a couple other TV shows. But yeah, the energy is trapped at those 90 degrees. Right. The home should be circular. Right. Exactly, Oliver. So even having your feet face the door. Kalini got me right on that. I don't know if y'all been getting y'all readings from Kalini. We're still doing readings through email. I've been going deep with those consultations, helping people understand that all of this is nothing but transits astrologically from your birth date of the moon's phases and us rotating around the pole star. And just like a clock, if the big hand on the clock reaches a certain number, that means it's a certain time for a certain deity and energy. Same thing with the planets or the gods. And then at certain other points, the gates of the gods, the gates of man open, and there's a whole other circuitry of energy that enters into the fold that you have to sift through and understand. But the numbers are important. And Kalini is dropping hot fire with her breakdowns and her readings. Very important to get her reading. I automatically recommend right after you do my reading with the gematria, You get her full reading whenever you have the finances to do it. I recommend you get a reading at least quarterly. At least quarterly, you get you a Vedic astrological reading because it's going to help you. It's going to help you with the karma and all of those aspects. But email me at startribe777@gmail.com if I forget later on, and we can get you set up. But there's other parts once you became conscious, just like the brother I met. He wasn't ready. You know, I could tell he wasn't quite ready to have that conversation. So I had to leave it real basic where it was. Her email is kaliniastrologer@gmail.com. I apologize. My chat put both emails in there for them. Thank you, guys. So I had to be real basic, you know, and leave it at that. I'll be wanting to give people more, but I got to realize some people are at a state of consciousness. So those who've alchemically transmuted through consciousness by doing this work, they've entered into the stages of thought forms. So there's stages and there's states. I've always talked about this. They're not frozen on idealism of the first perspective that's popular to the foes of social norms that always trumps reality. By sticking yourself with or shorthanding yourself with the first perspective you get from what's popular within this whole conscious thing, oh, that's a pagan holiday. You limit the potential of growth that you can have, and then you regress. You know, somebody's saying if you put up a Christmas tree, you're just like the Saturnalian worshipers who were sacrificing children and shit. What type of bullshit that is? Or if you ate any Thanksgiving, you shun your ancestors or the natives of this land by doing so. You see, there's spiritual qualities to these holy days that we call holidays. Everything is in language. There's spiritual qualities in it. You just can't see it because you're taking the first impression. There's a stage of transformation in the transits of the planets and in nature. And I'm talking about our inner nature, which reveals a door that if entered, it gives the initiate stock into a whole new light form that takes on these susurrations. And I say all of that stuff just to say that you may think participating in the ritual, you may think a person is participating in a ritual by participating during holidays, but it's only a ritual if its qualities have ensnared your intention of invested equity spiritually. I want you to ponder that for a minute. I want you guys to ponder that. You see what I'm saying? So we're going to get into it. I guess I didn't make much sense, but I want to give a shout out to the master teacher, the greatest of all time to ever do it. If this man didn't exist, I would have never became a metaphysicist, spiritual lecturer, none of that. This guy, his voice, hearing his voice changed the way I looked at things. And people have a problem with his Southern accent. I don't hear young guys say he sounds like a preacher or something, but I guess it takes for old souls to recognize what some real information is going down. But yeah, Bobby Hemmett, his birthday was on the 27th. We gave a shout out to him. The post went viral. One of the biggest posts this year. So people recognize this brother's frequency. People keep asking, is he dead or something like that? No, he ain't dead. He just retired. You said, can we donate to Brother Bobby? I honestly, I don't trust none of them platforms with Bobby Hemmett. I don't trust the Cash App. I don't trust the Serious Times media. I'm not saying, because you got people looking at this, but I just don't trust it. That's just me. That's my opinion. They got the $ Bobby Hemmett. They say that's his Cash App, but I'm just very skeptical of things. When they came and told me I had to take the money and put it in his mailbox if I wanted to go up there and put the money in his hand, I was like, I don't know about that. I'm not going to put that portion of money in no mailbox. You know what I'm talking about? Your street knowledge starts to kick in a little bit when you start hearing things like that. You know what I'm talking about? Yeah, somebody said they've been binge watching Bobby for the last 6 months. Yeah, absolutely. You said Brother Bobby credible, Ani, and lectures like Brother Sanchez. Yeah, Brother Sanchez goes in. Bro Sanchez been going in. Shout out to that brother. And everyone else, a lot of other people been going in. Shout out to everyone who's been bringing light to the communities. Yeah, I'm watching one of them 11-hour lectures right now. That's what I used to miss. I used to watch 8-hour lectures when I worked in the hospital. I used to do 8-hour lectures, man, and be swirling by the time I'm halfway through. Had to start taking notes halfway through the video. So get a little bit of hyperlucidity. By the way, Bobby used to wear this Tachyon Energy plate. We've been talking about it on Patreon. If you aren't on Patreon, you need to get the full updates on what's occurring. You need to get those updates, and we give the updates weekly, at least twice a week with videos. And you could find that at patreon.com/THE_spiritual shade room. That's the LLC. And then once you get on the Patreon, it'll say something like the True Occult Newspaper. That's how you know you're on the right thing. The Tachyon Energy plate. We're talking about Tachyon Energy because I used to wear this thing for like 7 years. And I think it is somewhat of the causal reaction to why I've received so many light codes over the years in whatever spiritual endeavor I did, whether it was psychedelics, whether it was meditation, my dreams. That's the main thing I deal with is the dreams. This thing increases the tachyons around your bioenergy field. Bobby said he was able to call down his light ship with it. He got plenty of videos on that. Or it activated his magic. I remember one video, he said it was trapped in a snowstorm. It was in the car and he was fresh off working some magic somewhere. And he said he asked everyone to close their eyes and imagine like the ice melting so the car could get through. I think the wheel got caught or something, and they closed their eyes and waited. And when they got out of meditation, it was a clear path. It was a clear path. He said it was tapping into the angel Raphael, the purple angel and all of that aspect. Uriel, Raphael. So there's some capabilities with your imagination. You tap into it. You can change reality. I'm not saying it's the energy plate is you, but it can activate something inside of you. Because then people start saying, if I get that energy plate, I can melt snow or something like that. You said you got that plate in your pocket right now? Yes, sir, Janae. Yeah, RIP Brother Panic as well. Right. RIP Brother Panic. I think his day just passed recently too. So yeah, you guys get that Tachyon Energy plate. We're doing work. Another thing I'm going to talk about that you need to get right now. We won't go in depth right now, but you need to get the MI 528 hertz tuning fork. We're working with that on Patreon right now, as well as spiritual tools. So I won't go too in depth with that right now, but you need to go ahead and get it. If you're on YouTube, you hear the playback. That's what you need to get if you're wondering where we're at with the lessons. We'll talk about that a little bit later. So in other news, did you guys see XRP the last couple of nights? I don't know who's invested in crypto. I said one time, you don't need to focus, all your energy on crypto, but it's good to have an investment in it. I'm not going to be a fool and say, don't invest in it. I'm just saying all of these things are controlled if they give it to you. It may not be in full control right now. So I guess you can win right now, but eventually there will be a totalitarian construct around it. Yeah, XRP is going crazy. I looked at my XRP wallet. My eyes lit up. I said, what is going on? I'm glad I made that investment when Dr. Phil Valentine made that video. Y'all remember that video he did on it? I made my investment then, and I just had that thing sitting. I had to refresh the app to get back in it. But let me give you the numbers on it. First of all, this symbol is the Triskelion. It's called the Triskelion symbol. Origins sometime in Europe, early Europe. It represents motion and energies in action. From its founding date, because XRP used to be called Open Coin. When Chris Larson started it back in 2012, Open Coin eventually became Ripple. The first time they changed it over to Ripple was 9/26. That's when Ripple was born, on 9/26, until the day when XRP this year started to become bullish on 11/5. That was exactly 40 days from the founding date. And when you think about 40 days, Ripple pertaining to water. Remember, currency is water, current, and sea. Where is a river is along the banks, the river banks. That's where you put your money in. And you think of 40 days like Noah in the flood, water. Ripple equals 40 in gematria. So it's interesting. 40 days from the founding date, it went bullish. So there is some numerology. If you look into the gematria, you'll see some things. They're telling you something is about to happen. Matter of fact, Kalini told me, she sent me something on the Ripple, because I've been paying attention with her, because the astrology, when you line up with it, is even more powerful. She said when Rahu goes into Aquarius this spring, you really about to see something. She said they flirting with us right now. But when them astrological energies tap in, it's really about to do something. And you can just invest in it so you can get a little ahead in the future. Start planning towards the future. You guys, hold on 1 second. Let me check on my son, make sure he ain't doing nothing too crazy in there. Hold on 1 second. All right, family, I'm back. Hope we didn't lose too many people. Shout out to the people who's loyal. All right. Can y'all hear me? You said no sound. Put a thumbs up if y'all can hear me. I know we had a few glitches the last couple of videos. All right. Speaking of water and ripple, did you guys hear this new little conspiracy? I don't really like that word, but that's what people calling it these days. But this new theory of how we get internet has been going viral the last couple of weeks. And it caught my attention because we had theories that there's a portal in the ocean where the UFOs or UAPs been coming out the whole time. Everything's connected to water. That's why all of the last couple of videos have been about the water. Today, we're going to get into the magic and dreams and the multiverse. But even that connects to the cosmic waters and the ether. But they're talking about this network of internet cords or lines that's in the ocean. I want you guys to listen up to this video that's going viral.
Take down the world's internet, this is where to strike. Almost 99% of all internet traffic, including this video, runs on this hidden network of undersea cables. But how do they even put them in place, and how do they fix them? Isn't the ocean like 1,000,000 miles deep and we haven't even fully explored the bottom yet? Do they just let them dangle through the water, float them on the surface, or... So the entire world is connected by these long-ass cables in the ocean, with 493 active cables coming up to a total of 1.5 million kilometers long. That's enough to go from Earth to the moon and back twice. But wait, isn't pretty much everything wireless at this point? I honestly thought that like satellites would be our main source of connectivity today, but no. Even the phone in your hand connects to data not by satellite, but through cell receiving towers, which are connected by cables. And these cables are installed by ship, which yes, lays them directly on the sea floor by just kind of spooling them out from the back and moving very, very slowly. But sometimes there will be underwater trenches, and having them hang across like this would be prone to breaking. So they just kind of keep unrolling the cable until it reaches as close to the bottom of the trench as it can. Now these cables, they pretty thick, reinforced with multiple layers of protection, as sharks have been found chewing on them, and can sometimes be quite hefty on the inside, as you could imagine, with fiber optic cables nestled safely deep inside of them where the data transfer actually happens. So whenever you message someone across the world, your message is literally traveling through these cables at about the speed of light, since fiber optic uses light pulses that are converted to binary code, which traverses through the deepest depths of our oceans in a couple seconds before getting to the recipient. Accidental breaks in the cables do happen every so often, and they either send an underwater drone like this to repair it, or they just pull that part of the cable out of the water and fix it on a ship before setting it back down. They obviously have a lot of backup cables and alternate paths in place, so even if some evil villain were to cut one of these cables to destroy society, it would just cause internet slowdowns in the area, similar to a traffic jam when a road is closed, and would probably be fixed in a couple days anyway. For now, wired internet connectivity remains king, as it's cheaper.
That's interesting, right? I've seen some of you guys put in there some interesting theories as well. But it's connected. Just like you get the wiring in the ocean, there's the wiring in the melanin in the brain cells, in the plasma of the universe. So they're just setting up a holographic, or like Adonai just said, a synthetic aspect of it. And that's how they're going to filter in this new transhumanist agenda with trapping people, using the internet to trap people in another aeon, the digital verse. They've been promoting it in movies for a while, especially the famous Matrix. You know, you got Lucy. They're coming out with a new Iron Man. They're coming out with Ironheart with the black girl right now. I'm going to talk about that a little bit later. But End Time, Transcendence, Selfless, Elysium, and Ex Machina. Right, and the fungi as well. That's a good analogy, Charles. Sage says, I think most space voyages have been underwater. They're lying about how much of the ocean they've explored. Right. Somebody was talking about some dude. He was like a billionaire. He made an investigation. I think they killed his ass, but he put all his money in sending a different type of alloyed submarine thousands of feet into the ocean, and figured out that there was this abyss that was something like a wave, a whirlpool waveform portal of darkness. And when he came back to the surface, he was in the submarine, or whatever AI technology they were using, said the world on the other side was completely different. But they cut his TV off. In the words of Kendrick, they cut his TV off. So when we might not ever get that video until they want us to get it. But I've seen a couple of videos trending on that. That's the hyper kingdom theory that a certain person, I can't say her name on here, but she's the one that got me into the hyper kingdom, saying that there's other worlds within this plane of existence. And that connected me to the multiverse theory, or the daughter world theory as well. It ain't a theory no more. I'm going to break that down. Said underwater communications have been around 50 years. You said he saw an extra body of water within the ocean. Yeah, I remember that guy. That was somebody else. I remember that guy, though, Janae. That was interesting, too. Cable networking definitely faster. You said there's aquanauts that live in underwater domes like space stations. We did a breakdown of Aquaman on Patreon. That was dope as well. Said the macro micro mycelium network. Yeah, we're going to break down Dune on Patreon this week. We're going to start Dune this week. Yeah, they put her name in the chat. I can't talk about that. So that's how they're going to do it. And right now, the elites, they've been releasing articles just like LX 2048. This reminded me of the movie LX 2048. It says the super rich preppers are planning to save themselves from the apocalypse. They can't save themselves. It's only one thing that's going to save you. That's consciousness and enlightenment. And I'm not using vague terms. You know, some people take these terms and repeat them over and over. We break it down. We go deep into it. It says the billion. Hold on, let me make sure. Hold on. It says the billionaires considered using special combination locks on the food supply that only they knew, or making guards wear disciplinary collars of some kind in return for their survival. or maybe building robots to serve as guards and workers if that technology could be developed in time. Whenever they say that, they telling you that's what they already doing. So the bonkers, another series I want you to get that we're going to break down this week is Silo. Speaking about the bonkers, go back and watch my Underspace lecture as well. My lecture on Underspace and the Hollow Earth. Real dope lecture, but Silo, we're gonna go into this. Because the Democrats or the Democrats been speeding up World War III. They crashing out crazy, even with the Hunter Biden development that I'm gonna break down in a minute. Silo is going to give a lot of keys to the science we're going to be breaking down throughout this month and going into the year of the snake 2025. Yeah, Fallout was good. We broke down Fallout on here already. Fallout talking about the cold fusion. So you saw that too? Natasha said last week she had a dream you was taken to the ice wall. People was in the water. It wasn't cold. A giant stingray came for me and you stood on it. That's interesting. Brother Phil said these cores been underwater since 1858. Transoceanic fiber optic cables. Interesting. What's going on, Katrina? Glad you made it in. Yeah, we're going to break down Silo. We're going to break that down on Patreon. So let me see what hyperlucidity information. Serena Williams. They did a humiliation ritual. You know, they got to hit one melanated or a couple melanated people a month to take the attention away to what you're supposed to be doing. But they definitely did some very strange things with her. People even said it seemed like she was under some type of substance. But another humiliation shaman ritual occurs 62 days after Serena Williams' birthday, where it appears she bleached her skin completely next to her husband, Ohanian. I think it's Alex Ohanian or something. He's some billionaire. And they really wanted to get Serena and her sister. They've been trying to do that. They did they let Will Smith play her father after he slapped Chris Rock. There was some rituals I decoded with that. But black skin equals 62, and this comes 62 days after her birthday. Black skin. Her husband's last name, Ohanian, equals 62. And Mason and sacrifice equals 62. So that's a very prevalent control number. So we need to watch and pay attention what happens with her. Some things going on with her. Yeah, he owns Reddit. That's what he owns. Yeah. Yeah, I think Tyreek talked about her, Adonijah. I think he made a video too about her. You said they get humiliated in order to get away with something else. Is initiation to these MFers is immunity, is karma, spiritual and physical, right? Right. Then they did something to TD Jakes. People think it's serious and all of that. It was a ritual. TD Jakes fell out while he was on stage. They said something is some type of stent they had to put in his chest now, but people suspect it was a stroke. But this happened 198 days before his next birthday on June 9th. His full name, Thomas Dexter Jakes, equals 198. I told you follow the gematria. They're going to show you that these aren't occurrences. These are implementations of the Jesuit order to induce certain events so they can control the societal, psychological perspective of what's occurring in reality and manipulate everyone. Also, I noticed his full name equals 666. in Fibonacci gematria. Somebody tried to come to me on Twitter talking about how does his name equal 666? And I said the motherfucker Fibonacci cipher. And then they emailed me trying to say, oh, I didn't mean to troll. I really would like to learn more. Then when I told him he had to book a session, because I got like 5 to 8 people ahead, he said, oh, you're not a real spiritual teacher. So I don't know why people keep trying to put titles on you and everything. Oh, you're one of these fake spiritual teachers trying to charge for information and shit. I'm like, motherfucker, I'm running a business. Spirituality is a business. If you don't do what you're supposed to do, guess what? In the end, karma is going to tax your ass. Everything is business. Everything is war. Business and war is just a perspective of physics. Anode, cathode, in and out. As above, as within. So without. Yeah, I had to block dude. I'm like, bro, if you don't get out my goddamn DMs, then he started blowing me up. I'm like, these are weird people out here. You're going to troll my post, hit me up, then get mad when I tell you gotta wait to get a consultation. And I gave him the information. It's not like I didn't give him. I gave him the information. He wanted a class. I said, if you want a class on this, that's time. Time is money. Time is money. Everyone on here knows it. But you know, TD Jake's been around P. Diddy, so there's some connections with that. When I do the Diddy Codes Part 2 on Patreon, I'm going to make that connection. And him throwing up the Aramoth symbol to the Cybele, the Roman goddess of the Tyran's sexuality. I can't say that word. They start getting mad if I say that word. But the Tyrans, y'all know what I'm saying. Those of you who's been on here. And it's interesting because I talk about the 42 Negro Code. TD Jakes and P. Diddy did an episode on a podcast called Eyes on the Right. It was called The Great Falling Away. And I said, Great Falling Away. Episode 42. Negro equals 42. You see? Certain things pertaining to that. Then they did another big ritual on Katt Williams. First of all, Katt Williams buys a former military base in Alabama to build his own movie studio. And we went and looked it up. The name of the base is Starships. That's the name of the base. And I said, God damn it. Katt Williams is in with them folks. And why is he buying a bunker right now? And why the hell all of these studios like him and Tyler Perry, all of their Hollywood or movie studios is in military bunkers? That's weird. Feels like they can traffic some people up under the military base. Take them down to the ritual right under the military base and send you back up for your role. But he was spotted with his Masonic Lorraine Cross outfit on. He's done Masonic poses before. We've seen him. Then he did GQ magazine, Katt Williams, the man who opened the portal. And I said, got him dressed like a Sith Lord. Got him dressed, and look, they put the copper energy so it can look like he's spiritual with it. They put the copper on him. But people are going to say, oh, this is the savior of the year. Oh, my God. He made prophecy and all of that. I broke down Katt Williams numerous times with his numerology. He's playing a role. I'm not saying he's on the PDF file side of Hollywood, but he's on the side of Freemasonry. He's on a side. And if you don't think this don't look suspicious, like if that don't look suspicious to you, like Umar would say, these things are all rituals. It's all ritual. So have y'all ever heard of this guy named Myron Gaines? This dude who runs Fresh and Fit. I call it Fresh and Fwag, Broken Wrist Podcast. Because all they do is get on there and yell at a bunch of women, telling them what they are and what they ain't. And I'm not saying that the manosphere hasn't helped people. I pointed out that Kevin Samuels, when they sacrificed him for marrying, I think he married like 300 black families the year he passed. I don't know what he did the year before, but he was getting people married. The CIA or COINTELPRO had to take that brother out. But if some of y'all listen to this government agent, I don't know how y'all sift out this stuff. Because I heard one sister saying, yeah, I listened to him, but I just listened to him to know how the paradigm of men are thinking. This dude does not dictate how men think. He dictates how males and Fwag guys think. I can't say what I want to say, but I'll say Fwag. Shout out to my roommate from Harlem. He put me on that New York slang when I was in school. But this dude is a super government agent. He cosplays like a black American. He's from the Sudan. His name isn't Myron Gaines. His name is Amro Fuddle, which equals 666 in gematria. So you already know he was a selection. That's why he changed his name. And I wasn't getting on him just because of what Jewel, what you said about some girl getting violated on. I didn't care about that situation. I've been getting on this dude. This dude been easy work. Cosplaying. I don't know if I had the other pictures of him. Oh yeah, here it goes. This dude has fully admitted to being a government agent and nobody cares. Let me play this for you.
And if you Google my real name, right, it's Amrafot or whatever, y'all know what it is now at this point. You're gonna see court documents come back, and one of them is a criminal complaint or an affidavit in support of a criminal complaint that I did when I was an agent, right? And that came out, and people figured out, oh, what the hell did this guy used to do? And you know, they pretty much put 1 and 2 together, and some people are low IQ, you know what I'm saying? Pretty stupid. They're like, oh, he's a snitch. And in my head, I'm like, what the fuck? Like, yeah, a snitch? What are you talking about? No, I'm the one that controls the snitches, bro. I was the agent. I was the controlling agent, you know, because you have informants and everything else like that, which I'm going to break that all down for you guys today. We're going to give you guys.
This dude said he was the one that controlled the snitches. That's even worse, bro. You thought that was some type of highlight saying that? That's even worse. And he's very bussified. He looks like a llama. The llama, what's the llama off that TV, the cartoon movie? What was it? The Road to El Dorado? He looks like that llama. I can't remember which cartoon movie it was. Teaching snitches how to snitch. There you go, Charles. The Emperor's New Grove. The Emperor's New Groove. He looked like that llama. And he loves men kissing up on him and kissing other men. And if that's his way of life, I have no problem about it. But don't come out here giving instructions and telling men how they should be looking at women from the manosphere perspective, because all they did was took that other guy's information, Rollo Tomasi, and flipped it into their own little thing. I'll put the whole manosphere on blast. Yeah, alpaca. That's what it is, an alpaca. Yo, alpaca looking motherfucker. Y'all crazy. But these guys are in creating incels because some people think just because a dead clock is right 2 times a day, that there's nothing wrong with what they're doing. A real man can assess that there's an issue in the societal norm or the original complexity of the dynamics of masculinity and femininity. They know there's something going on with our women, our new age version of women, and vice versa. These males out here, I don't say, well, let me rephrase that. These females, because women or a woman is not just a female. She's somebody that handle business and take care of her man. And these males, a male isn't a man. So when women reference saying men ain't shit, you talking about males. And most of the time they were raised really by a single mother. If you really do the research on them, I remember when I used to open up the mic way back on the old channel. I don't know if y'all remember early in my videos, used to open up the mic and we did some Twitter spaces where we called out that guy, or it was like 2 occasions when the guy came on and was getting real emotional. And I just said, man, you was raised by a single mother, wasn't you? And not to say I was raised by a single mother too, but my father was in my life till my early teenage years. He passed away. So I had a foundation to understand that ain't what men do right there. Men don't do that. Having the father, the masculine aspect in the household, means something alchemically to the soul for the female child and especially the male child. And the dude, and guess what? The dude admitted, he said, yeah, I was. So what? I was like, brother, I ain't trying to get on you, man. I'm just trying to understand your perspective. This dude is for males who weren't raised with fathers. And I'm going to leave it at that. Did y'all see the Princeton University depiction of what Adam looked like? The biblical Adam? Did y'all see this? I was laughing at this on Instagram, man. If y'all don't get this Neanderthal 2035 Elon Musk fake AI picture up out of here. And I think Elon Musk had to pay Princeton to do this. This was big news. This was big news. I'm not making this up. They did another one. They did another one earlier. Let me see if I can find that one. I don't know if I saved it. But they did another one too before they did that one that looked like Elon Musk. Yeah, I didn't save it in my files, but yeah, they trying to put in people's minds. That's how Adam looked like. And you think it's funny right now, but 100 or 200 years from now, they're going to really say Adam looked like Elon Musk. You think it's funny right now. You said it looks like a Sophia bot. I said it looked like a Tesla bot. It looked like a Tesla bot right there. Right. You said Adam Elion is another name for Adam Cadman, the Messiah. There you go. That's wild. Yeah, man, this is some sick stuff they got going on. Yeah, if anybody was the Antichrist, Elon Musk is at the top. If anybody's the Antichrist, you talking about Lucifer technologies that's going to change reality. What he's developing with Tesla, even stealing that name and taking the polarity of what Tesla was introducing to the world through free energy, scalar wave energy, physics, and inducing transhumanism, Neuralink installations into the brain and the mind and all that type stuff. That's a Promethean figure. Y'all said he got an Optimus Prime head. Y'all, it's crazy. Yeah, they really worshiping guy right now, but that's how he got his credentials once Trump got in. That's when he got his credentials. They opened up the floodgates on him. Now, they did another ritual. Let me show you something real quick. They did a big ritual on your boy, Jay Leno. They did a ritual on Jay Leno. Jay Leno went viral for having a black eye, bruised side of his face with the eye patch. The eye patch is for the one eye Illuminati symbolism. We also revealed on Patreon, Freemasonry has Gnostic secrets in its different degrees. How the god of the material realm in Gnosticism is a worm. The god of material realm was a worm called Sackless, Yaldabaoth, the jealous god. Often scholars have confused the worm with a snake, which that's different. That's the nephesh in the Hebrew text. That's different. But there's theories and dark web videos on certain characters on the world stage in this whole black eye club, where celebrities, politicians, public figures have to get this thing called a real worm, parasite inserted into their eye while under artificial somnambulism, which is hypnotism, MK Ultra. How the worm comes into being is a magical process of pulling the archon rulers from certain regions in the stars down into a parasitic form by allowing a pound of flesh to rot on top of a pentagrammic sigil or the sigil of Amuth. When it rots, these parasites come out of the pound of flesh and they take them and they grow them. They even probably do some nanotechnology, AI stuff with it, because the archons are nothing but the cosmic artificial intelligence of this universe. They're the non-corporeal AI. And they're on top of the predator hierarchy here, along with their creator, Yaldabaoth. And there's been a lot of hidden information on the worm. That's why me and Donut teamed up and did the Illuminati worm video. So you better know what you're looking at when you see, go back and get the TV series The Strain, when they putting the worm in the eye and all them zombies and monsters and shit. These people are zombies and monsters walking around. They don't even have their mind no more. And there is some nanosynthetic aspects to it. Richard Feynman, the father of nanotechnology, said he feared what the nanotech could do in the future. It's called fallen star tech. I'm gonna get into that a little bit later on. Pretty much. They say, some people say that's what the eye of Horus represent with the little curl right here. I don't know. They probably tripping, but it's interesting. I like when people say interesting things. Maybe they mimicked this symbol. Look like a worm being inserted into the eye. Nobody's talking about that. Now, Hunter Biden was just released from prison and pardoned on everything. What's going on, buddy? Hold on one second, guys. I'm gonna come right back. We're gonna talk about Hunter Biden. Give me 1 second. All right, guys, I'm back. All right. So Hunter Biden, he was pardoned 201 weeks after his father, Joe Biden, took office on 20/1. Remember, in other places in the world, the dates is backwards than America. So in America, it would be 1/20, but over in Europe or England or somewhere, it would be 20/1 would be the date. 201 back in 2021 is the day that Biden first took office. So 200 weeks after his father, Joe Biden, took office, he was pardoned. And this reminds us of how his other son, Beau Biden, died at 46 years old, 201 days from Pope Francis' birthday. You know, the Jesuit order equals 201. Ignatius of Loyola, the person who created the Jesuit order, equals 201. And our current Pope, Jorge Mario Bergoglio, equals 201. Now, this is interesting. Hunter is pardoned from his felony charges 76 days after his father, Joe Biden's 11/20 birthday this year to Hunter's February 4th next birthday in 2025. 76 days. Hunter equals 76. Hunter equals 76. And there was a 14-year-old girl that was in a video with him that everyone was asking questions about. She kind of blew up on the internet. Her name is Ashley St. Clair. She was spotted with him while he was on all of them drugs. He was a crackhead. And she made a post immediately after his arrest on her account. I think the Jesuits or the elite made her do it. She said that she doesn't care he was released. This comes 17 weeks, 6 days. 17 weeks, 6 days from her 7/31/2024 birthday. Ashley St. Clair equals 176. This is one big strip numerically with all of this. Biden equals 201. Okay, interesting. That's Ashley St. Clair. She's like 19 or something, or 17 or something. What's going on, Cherry? I see you up in there. Aloha. Yeah, they got this stuff going on. So that's what the Hunter Biden thing is about. It's connected to the PDF stuff. And Biden was the one talking about no one is above the law. He the one who wrote the crime bill. Your son got caught with guns, doing drugs, having sex with prostitutes, the videos all over the internet. And not only did he pardon his recent arrest, he pardoned all of his arrests. See, that's what the media ain't telling you. He pardoned all of his arrests. To tell you what's going down with this thing. Now, before we get into the lecture today, I want to talk about some stuff. They came out with the movie Wicked. They came out with the movie Wicked. And there's some things connected. This is the main little thing we're going to go into. I might go on the front after this a little bit too, but the movie, you got to understand this. You got to put how you feel about what I say aside. And you got to understand, because you're going to miss the jewel if you get into your feelings and in the social norms about what I'm about to say. Okay? The movie Wicked is about melanin. You can take it to the bank. You know that's all I do. Because when Bobby set the precedence that this thing is about melanin, I pondered, why is this motherfucker always talking about melanin? I've never heard the word melanin mentioned that many times. But melanin is the technology of the stars in the spiritual realm for humans. For the stars is dark matter. For humans, it's a spiritual plane. It's an intelligence. It's the essence of the intelligence is what the melanin is when you study the book, The Physics of Darkness, which I'm going to get into today. You better take it to the bank. That's what this movie about. Let me prove it to you. If I don't know what I'm talking about, let me prove it to you. The whole movie is about reiterating the stereotype of blackness being ugly or blackness being ostracized and evil. And you have a motherfucker come around talking about, well, if the Witch of the West was played by a white or Hispanic or Asian person, your whole theory falls. No, it doesn't. You can switch out the race. It don't matter, because if I'm going to tell you something, I'm going to have something to back up what I'm saying. And if it doesn't back up, I'm going to have something that backs up what I just said. Then you're going to have to deal with it. How you deal with it. Let me just give it to you off bat. The movie is about melanin because her mother is played by a melanated woman, which she isn't melanated in the rest of the Broadway plays. I did extensive research to give you this. She isn't melanated in the Broadway plays, but they had her melanated because they had to select this Caribbean actress named Cynthia Erivo, which black people know white people really like her. I'm not trying to be a bully by saying that, but they really don't like this chick. And I'll explain why in a minute. I'm explaining why in a minute. But that don't have nothing to do with nothing. That's Matrix stuff. I'm just telling you what she represents in the movie and the symbolism. Let's discard the celebrity stuff. Okay? So you said, okay, you saying it's about melanin because her mother is black. You got to get out of race and all of that. Her mother's name is Melina or Melina. Melina or Melina comes from the Greek word melis, which means black. Melis, Melina, melis means black. Now you know why they had to get her for this. This is the biggest Broadway movie of all time. Did you know that? Wicked is the biggest Broadway movie of all time already. Now it's big because the stereotypes towards the melanated people and them assuring that she's going to die because you know Dorothy kills her in the end. It's about this witch by the name of Elphaba. Somebody put a thumbs up if I'm pronouncing that right. I'll have to find if I'm not pronouncing it right, but I think it's Elphaba or Elphaba, one of them. I can't remember. I watched the movie once with my son yesterday. It was it was just too many rituals in the movie, but we got through it. I could stop there, right? I could stop there, tell you the truth. I could stop there. That could be the end of the breakdown. But we're going to go deeper. Yes, Wicked is the prelude to the Wizard of Oz. Wicked is the prelude to the Wizard of Oz. That's why it's so big, because it has an enormous fan base. They was extremely mad. They made the witch black. But they always do that. They did it with the Lord of the Rings and all of that. And they say, oh, DEI, 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 DEI over and over. But in this case, this might be DEI. I don't think she was the best selection for the role, but I would give her credit. She did well in the movie enough. She did well enough. And the numbers back that. So the movie, and now they all articles talking about the movie is LGBT, all of this. So you see this symbolism here. It's also about Kamala Harris, you know, the AKA colors. You got the pink and green, even though she lost. They have to have a symbolic type thing. And I broke down how Kamala could possibly get back in office. You got to go watch that video. Now, yeah, the black being evil. Yeah. Blackness being evil. Now, her name is Elphaba. The word El, it means in Hebrew a god, a deity, might, strength, power of the Semitic language. So when they call her Elphaba, she the only one that can do this magic. They even the top people, the wizard, and what is her name? Miss Morrible. Her name is Morrible, like horrible with an M. They didn't even have no powers how she had. So she is a god, literally. In the Witch of the West is a god. That's what they ain't telling you. Now her other half of her name, Phaba, comes from the root Greek word meaning bright, shining, radiant one, pure and happy, cheerful demeaning, but it means bright or pure, because the melanogenesis, the darkness produces the light. Okay, the darkness produces the light. They also saying that this movie is a multi-dimensional version of Oz, and I said, well, we're going to talk about multiverse, multi-dimensional aspects today. So this could be a multiverse of the thing. I also noticed the trope of them turning the monkeys in the movie into flying monkeys. There was some numerology with the gematria in my research that connected the monkeypox. The flying monkeys, 138. Cynthia Erivo, 138. Monkeypox, 138. But when she turned them into flying monkeys, they opened this ancient book. Let me see if I can find It's called the Grimoire. I told y'all about the Grimoire. The Grimoire is this ancient Lemurian book of language. Hold on, they got an article on it. And none of them could read it but her. Look, she never seen the book before. She never read the language, but she was able to read it because she had the melanin. So the whole movie is about degrading her ass. I'm telling you, throughout the whole movie is real bad. But they in the end, they can build her up to have this magical power because they know they're gonna kill her in the end. It's the whole magical Negro theory. Look up magical. If I don't know what I'm talking about, look up magical Negro theory. It's a funny version on it with Jordan Peele, and Key and Jordan Peele did the magical Negro. If you want to get a laugh out of it. This ain't nothing but the magical Negro over. Ain't nobody donating to y'all ass. The magical Negro is a trope in American cinema. Is a supporting stock character who comes to the aid of usually a white character. Magical Negro characters often possess special insight, mystical powers. Old-fashioned word Negro. Magical black character. This ain't nothing but because the whole movie is about her saving these animals that can talk. And in essence, what they're saying in the movie is that she is the animal. You know, 3/4 of a human, that whole thing. You may not believe that, but I'm telling you that's what it is. It's hard for you, some people, to swallow that. Like, I didn't see that. That's fine. I'm just telling you my angle, my clear cognizance of breaking these movies down over years. You can say I'm biased or whatever, but I'm telling you that's what it is. Now, in the Grimoire, this book, let me see if they got a picture of it. They said it's a powerful magical artifact in Wicked. It plays a pivotal role in Elphaba's evolution. The Grimoire established a powerful tome full of ancient spells whose lore established during this extended Wizomania section of the song. Okay. The Grimoire was created by the magical wise ones who lived in Oz ages ago. So they're gonna do a couple of movies. This ain't the last movie. The wise ones transcribed their magic into a book, which became the Grimoire. However, the ancient language was lost over the years, making the magic inaccessible for generations. Even powerful sorcerers like Madame Morrible can only translate a few words. However, the wise ones left a prophecy that someday a powerful magical figure would be able to naturally read the Grimoire. And that becomes her. They said, why can't she read it? It was never made exactly clear where Elphaba's magical potential stems from. It's the melanin. It potentially has something to do with a mysterious serum. Now, this serum is also talking about melanin too, that she took from a stranger. The stranger is the wizard. So this is another ritual they do. They always have some type of weird racial tone to the parents of black characters. So what I'm saying to you is this guy right here, the wizard, is her father. Now, if that made sense in the film, she should have been a biracial character, but they got to do weirdness of biracial tones. They do things like that. Well, you say she got dark skin, green skin and all that, it don't matter. I understand societal norms or liberal thought. I get it. So this is her father, and her father was going around doing the Jeffrey Epstein. he started to impregnate a bunch of women around. I'm telling you, it was out of the book. He started to impregnate all of these women around Oz, and he gave them this magical serum, but only the black woman actually birthed this magical child that's in the Thelemic Aleister Crowley text. Look up the magical child, Thelema. And I spoke about the magical child a bunch of times on here. It says they're looking for the babe of the abyss, the magical child. Basically, she's a homunculus. She's a created life form where this magical potion, it births her into the world, and her mother is killed by her stepfather because he was so taken back from his child being green that he made her drink milk flowers every day when he got her pregnant again, so they can have a natural born child. And she birthed a white child. I tell you, it's always weird, which is her sister. But from the milk flower, she died because her father was, he didn't want another green child, so he overdid making her take or drink the milk flower tea. It's always some very weird stuff with racial tones because they do that, a part of the mind control. But anyways, so he's her father. That's the secret. That's why he wears green. That's why he's in the Emerald City. And the whole movie is about stealing the birthright inheritance from the Moors. That's what occurred in history. But there is some chakra stuff connected to it too. Now, the original monkeys, because when she reads the Grimoire, all she wants to do is help the animals because she's the only one that can speak and have a connection with the animals. Even her teacher at Shiz University, S-H-I-Z, Shiz University, or is it Shiz University? Her teacher is a goat. That connects to the Baphomet. Remember I told you from that book called The Sufi, they said the original representation of the symbol of the Baphomet was the Negro head, the Moors who taught the Europeans at the University of Salamanca, the mystery school. The Knights of Templar came out of the Salamanca, and that's what birthed the Illuminati, the Moorish knowledge of Spain and the technologies that they were looking into at that time. That's why Trump in his Mar-a-Lago establishment in Florida, he has the plus ultra pillars of Hercules in the background on the wall. This is called Moorish Arabesque art. And the plus ultra was these pillars called the Pillars of Gibraltar, or the Strait of Gibraltar, where the Moors hid the knowledge from the Europeans of how to traverse the currents of the sea and reach the New World, which they had been traveling to the Americas long before then. That's why indigenous folks were there. All of this is documented. All of this is documented. Even Christopher Columbus, the pilot of his boat was a Moor. Go look that up. The pilot of Christopher Columbus' ship to America was a Moor from Spain. So Trump already know what the deal is. That's why he used Moorish law. When he said he don't pay taxes, he's using Moorish law. He's a part of the Order of St. Tammany. Look that up too. The Order of the Phoenix. It's all about alchemy, which the dark night of the soul is another reference to melanin, or the melanosis of the soul. there's a darkness to it, but the black people in general represents the darkness of the human race. The dark contingencies of history dwells in our subconscious. So when they birthed a melanated green child, it was actually Osiris, because a lot of melanated children, I'm not sure if European children have this, I didn't see the research on it, but they get these green spots on their back. I had it on my back when I was a child. They get these green spots. I forgot what they call it. I think they say it's called chrysala, or these are different colors. Okay. They get these spots. Y'all can put it in the chat. You say your baby girl had it. Not to say I don't fully believe that black people were green at one time. It's magnesium, okay. But I think it represents something. It represents something because Osiris, he's green. And he's the god of the dead in Egypt. And Elphaba was killed by Dorothy. Well, I figure out in the book that she actually wasn't killed. She faked her death. Probably talking about faking deaths on the Hollywood stage. Now, let me let you hear this, and we're going to really break it down esoterically, and we're going to move on.
Realize who's the real villain in The Wizard of Oz. We grew up believing the Wicked Witch of the West is the villain of the story, but is she? Think about it. Her sister gets murdered and her shoes are stolen by Glinda, shoes that are silver in the original story and belong to her mother. And what about Glinda, the good witch of the South? She literally used Dorothy to kill the witch of the East. Not to mention she avoided telling Dorothy she could have used the shoes to go back to Kansas.
You've always had the power to go back to Kansas. I have.
Then why didn't you tell her before?
But rather, she left Dorothy going through the yellow brick road to meet the wizard, who actually left the kingdom right after. And by the end of the movie, by using Dorothy, she eliminated all her competition in the realm of power. So who's the real villain? It took me...
That's Wizard of Oz. Yeah, she killed the Witch of the West and the East she got the wizard up out of there because she exposed the wizard on accident, though, and that's what made Glinda, who's played by Ariana Grande, that's what made her take over power over Oz. That's the truth. And that's always been the scapegoating of how they do things. I think she's a figure of representing, even though she's not fully European, she represents the white power structure of how they can swipe birthrights, because everyone thought she was the good guy. But if you watch Wicked, she is the most despicable person ever. She's the most despicable person ever you can meet. And anytime, this is another thing, I want to talk to my goddesses. Y'all need to be careful wearing these septon rings. I've been seeing a lot of occult websites talking about how the septon ring, new age feminist movement is a mind control object. There's something I looked up that bulls were given septon rings so that the user could put a pole or a stick in it so they can control the bull if it got out of control. So there's some type of spell work with the septon ring that you got to be careful of. And I noticed she had it on, but they've been talking about this on these occult back pages, that most of the feminists you see today have this septum ring. So if you got it, be very, very careful playing around with these energies these people using with that. Archetypes mean something. There's some rituals going on with it. There's a lot of misandry. There's a lot of things going on with it. What's wrong? You want to see Arbor? Hold on one second, guys. Let me put Arbor on for him. All right, he watching Arbor in there. So there was an article came out that Wicked Dolls, Mattel had to apologize for mistakenly linking the adult porn site on packaging for the movie. It says, however, fans have noticed that on the back of the boxes, the packaging links is to a porn site. You see that? They did that intentionally because the name of the movie is Wicked. They did that intentionally for the kids so they can look at that to program them. It looks like the Rahu glyph. Let me look at Rahu. Adonijah be on it. That talking about the Septon ring. Yeah, it does look like Rahu. And you know, Rahu, that's my Makarka. The Rahu deals, there's a lot of good connections with Rahu, but the one thing about Rahu you got to be careful of, Rahu can give you a false illusory aspect to people in certain things in your astrological chart, especially if it's in your ascendant moon or your sun. So you got to be very, very careful with that. Yeah, that's a great catch, Adonijah. Adonijah be on fire. You guys get on Patreon. Adonijah be on fire. You said the green has something to do with the aurora, probably so. But the reason why people, or mainly the black community, had a problem with Cynthia Erivo is because back then, Cynthia Erivo made some disturbing tweets about African Americans. We don't even accept that name no more because that could be anybody. That can be Elon Musk. Elon Musk is an African American. That was a title given to us by Jesse Jackson in the 1980s, some CIA stuff when he was running for president. But black Americans, pretty much, she was talking, you know, y'all baby mamas, y'all on Section 8, you know, it's the same old tropes that you hear, because she's from the Caribbean. She's not from a black American. She's an American, but she came over later on. She's an immigrant, pretty much. Her family, I think she's second generation or something. Her family came over, or she came over recently. Yeah, so I mean, some of them be like that. Some of them be like that. And Hollywood is picking up on that. That's why they making immigrants play the roles of prominent black figures. You notice Malcolm X, Martin Luther King, Rosa Parks, all of these people, black Americans aren't allowed to play their icons anymore. The elite have noticed that, and they said we can use these people that feel that type of way and do something to divide these people even more. So you got to be careful with that. Also, some of the mysteries with Osiris, actually the periodic table of the elements. Somebody pointed out that this is actually showing Osiris over the sarcophagus. I mean, Anubis over the sarcophagus. The sarcophagus is Osiris' body in the original hieroglyph. That's Osiris' body. Is the mummification process of sending a person into the Amduat. That's what you're looking at when you see this. You see? The broomstick originally in the mythology was a phallus, is a penis, is something sexual in it. It's a sexual nature. So that's someone. Let me go through the esotericism. Let me go through the esotericism real quick so we can move on. So it's good that the stereotype of blackness is ostracized and evil in the movie because they're letting too much fly out at one time. So now we can see the interpolation of hidden themes to the melanin by them doing that. The movie began with ships in the water. I'm not going to spoil it, but I'll just say that these vessels in the water that Glenda was coming over She was coming over in them ships to go to the university. Is saying that you're born as a vessel in water, like inside of your mother's womb. You're born in her amniotic fluid in water. And remember, being born in water is the same thing I said earlier with XRP currency. Everything is water, and it connects to the Wizard of Oz. Also connects to the whole Moorish whole thing, with the scarecrow being representative of the straw man. The straw man is the uppercase name that they put on your birth certificate. That name is registered, I think, to like a certain family or something like that. You're nothing but like a stock to these elite families. And then the birth certificate, if you go look at the Tin Man represents the 10 number that's on the birth certificate. That's the hidden information behind that. They're talking about what they're doing in America with law on your identity when they stole your identity in the birthright. And that's for everybody. It started with indigenous people, but they do that to everybody now. So that's a straw man analogy from the first 3 films. Now, Oz, the city, is representative of the spiritual realm. Oz is the spiritual realm. But instead of the tornado that originally brought Dorothy and Toto to Oz, in the original film, when she came in through Kansas, oh, my bad. The original tornado, I didn't mean to do that. Oh, they won't let me blow it up. Hold on, let me go to another one. Well, y'all see it right there. Y'all know what happened in the beginning when Toto and her had to go through the tornado to come to the Oz. Of course, the tornado is the Kundalini energy, the centripetal force I always talk about, and Toto represents the Sirius dog star. That's the mystery esotericism of that. Elphaba, her life experience becomes the storm in the movie. It represents the storm or the tornado that supplements the original 3 films of Dorothy coming through the tornado. Munchkin Land, where she's born, is the root chakra, where she triumphed over her trauma and displacement within reality. By the time she got to the university, she had already been dealt with being called names, being called green and an animal and all of that type stuff. She dealt with that in Munchkin Land. So she was already insensitive to what people were calling her. Glinda, the good witch, is Venus in the sacral chakra. The sacral chakra. Elphaba's father, her stepfather, you barely see him there. He is the demiurge. He represents the demiurge in the movie. The flying monkeys can also be the demiurge, or the flying monkeys can be the archons as well, but the demiurge. The wizard is Yaldabaoth. He's Yahweh in the movie. He's Yaldabaoth. You said Oz is identical to the Hyperborea map, and Munchkin Land is where the pygmies are on the map. That's interesting, Josh. Yeah, everything is tied into a trust. So Sophia is Elphaba's mother. Melina, That's Sophia, because she birthed her with the elixir, with the melanin, with her name being Melina and melanin. She birthed her. Her birth changed Oz forever. That's Sophia being the mother. And then she, she was later, she passed away. That's a analogy too, to something metaphysical. The university they went to is the crown chakra, because the school's main color you will see is purple throughout the whole duration of the movie. And they have this library with winding shelves of books. And Glenda is telling her and Elphaba's love interest that immense knowledge of the past in spells of the current age was all in that library, but she didn't even know what the word library meant. Glenda is very she's pretty much a dumb person. She don't really know nothing, but people think just because she's beautiful that she knows everything. The animals in the film that can speak, that is eventually hunted and put into cages, they had to find a scapegoat, you get it, for why things were happening negative. And even the wizard said at the end, when you want peace in a society, you have to find a villain and deem something the villain. They were going to make the animals the main villain, but they ended up making Elphaba, which is substituted as the black melanated person. We're going to make it seem like you guys are the villain. You're the ones out here committing gang activity and messing up your community when everybody knows the government and other influences of power has something to do with it. And has something to do with the mental conditioning. But then they'll come out and say, oh, you got a victim mentality. And that's the ritual. But the animals represent the throat chakra because they can speak. And the movie is about them losing the ability to speak. Madam Morable, I don't know, that's a horrible name for them to select for a person. She represents Jupiter and Juno. She's the teacher. She helps Elphaba access her magical power because she has extreme power, telekinesis, all type of stuff. She can do all type of things. And also, I meant to say that Dr. Dilliman, the goat, is Saturn in his planetary representation. The goat. Also, the goat represents the gates to the gods, and he's her only friend in the movie, is the goat, but it connects to the Baphomet and it connects to Capricorn. And he's the one that expresses to Elphaba what is the true essence of Oz. How do these people really look at you? The animals lost their ability to speak. I can't remember why. It was like something was occurring in Oz. I don't know if they're going to reveal it. They didn't reveal it in the movie, but they may have covered it. Let's look that up. But it was something that was occurring that caused them to lose their ability to speak. In the book, the animals lose their ability to speak over time, symbolizing their growing marginalization and helplessness. This dynamic serves as a poignant allegory to real world prejudice. So I guess they talking about racism or something. Elphaba learns from her history professor, Dr. Dilliman, that someone is caging Oz's animals, resulting in them losing their ability to speak. So I guess putting them in a cage, that could represent putting them in slavery, lost their ability to speak. What's up, buddy? No, You can't do that. Hold on, y'all. You don't got the yogurt out the refrigerator. Hold on. Let me get that, boy. This boy be taking everything out the refrigerator. Be bringing the juice and everything. Yeah, I know that's good for his digestive tract. That's why I just gave him some so I could put him to bed after this video. So the sacral chakra is the love interest of Elphaba and Glinda, and that guy, their love interest eventually becomes the Scarecrow. He's changed into the Scarecrow by Elphaba. In the Wizard of Oz, but the Ajna or the third eye chakra is Elphaba, of course, because of the magic. So I didn't want to stick too long on that, but that's what was going down in the Wicked. That's what was going down in actuality. It's all about melanin. I also wanted to show one more thing with the flying monkeys, that the original picture of the Negro was depicted almost like a flying monkey. This is back in like the 1920s. So that could be some racial undertones as well. And they blame her after the monkeys became distressed from being given bird wings. And this, I don't know, might have some homunculus trans mutational type things in alchemy. I don't got the full aspect of that, but that's some strange stuff. But I've seen people on the posts talking about it. But yeah, I'm just saying with the Septon ring, it just seems like there's this misandrous. I'm not going back, but this misandrous connection I've been seeing develop in the feminine half in the community. And Megan Thee Stallion and them came out with a music video called, what is it called? Rock Body or something? You know, the rock is always connected to Freemasonry. And they came out with this music video. It's called Rock Steady. And they killing black men all through the music video. And then somebody came to my post and said, of course, a melanated woman came to my post and said that, hey, y'all been killing us in movies and stuff over the whole duration. And I said, well, if that's the case, which I know, I don't remember no movie where the movie is about black men killing black women. I don't remember no movie about that. But let's just go with what you're saying. In the movie, the black guy goes to jail every time. He goes straight to jail. Not saying that makes much of a difference, but what I'm saying, the consequences of it. There's no consequences in this. This is the expression of their art. It's killing some black men in this. So that's what they want in the programming in the next generation, new age, Gen Z, Generation A melanated woman that, you know, kill them, kill these Negroes, if not symbolically in your mind. That's what the symbol is. And then they got the T-Rans colors in the background. So it's all connected with the programming here. And we have to be aware and recognize what's going on when they do that. Now, TV series we covered it on Patreon. I won't do the full breakdown. You got to get the Patreon to get that. But the from is about the Kabbalah traveling through the tree. You see, they made the melanated man the tree in the new poster. This is one of the most watched TV series in the last couple of years because people can't figure it out. It has a huge cult right now following. And in from, they're stringing together finally some aspects that make sense. I spoke about Harold Perrineau starting the series at 59. Negro equals 59. He's 61 now. Christ equals 61. So I won't be surprised if they kill him off in the last season. It has to be some type of savior complex in the last season. But what we're discovering is that Ethan, which I said on Patreon, his name represents ether, because the spider also connects to Isis. The weaving of the creatrix is through ether. Get the book by Kenneth Grant. What is that Kenneth Grant book? I read that in on Universe B. Hold on. Kenneth Grant, Outside the Circles of Time. He talks about the ether and the creatrix in the web of Isis. In the TV series, Ethan, people are now putting it together because this new villain popped up in the last episode called the Man in Yellow, which ain't nothing but the Necronomicon's version of Hastur in H.P. Lovecraft's books. The Man in Yellow, people starting to put it together that Ethan throughout every season has yellow on. I don't know if I got the pictures in here, but I'm gonna put the full decode on Patreon. So Ethan is the man in yellow, and his imagination is creating the town. How do I know that? You notice the town doesn't have electricity. You remember when he said, Jim, you shouldn't be digging that hole? When the voice, the archon or the monster on the phone said, Jim, you shouldn't be digging that hole, because they figured out that there's no electricity. Well, guess what? A little boy will have no common sense of where electricity goes. His imagination is creating from. You see? And that's what I'm talking about today with the dream worlds, is all about your imagination. I-Mog, imagination. You get the I in the Mog. The I-Mog, the third eye. Ethan is ether, and ether it ignites the imagination. So the spider, remember the spider drawing? Then you got the big spider in the forest, and he's like, where the hell is this spider coming from? You know? Also, we figured out that his mother is the reincarnation of the first woman who went to Fromville, and the villagers that she came with sacrificed their children to get immortality because they listened to the mother of monsters, which is a Japanese spider goddess. Right, leads to manifestation. But they even noticed there was another person's face in the mirror right here. If you look closely, that's not Miranda's face. This is the face of the original woman. So they're not even in their real lives. This whole thing could be a dream. Nobody's who they are. But that's what reality is in the physical plane anyway. You aren't who you thought you was. Remember in the first season, Boyd is actually the fool card in the tarot deck because the dogs was chasing him. In the first, you got to go back to the first season. I know it's far removed, but he's the fool card. He's playing the fool. That's why he's leading everyone. But he's leading. The fool is walking with his head up. He don't see the cliff. He doesn't see. He can't connect the dots on what's to happen. But he's leading with his pride. And I could break the full card down even more. The flower, the what the dog represents, but I don't have time for that. Jim, Ethan's father and Miranda's husband, is the hangman. Remember they showed the rope when they were trying to build the tower to communicate with the outside world, like the Tower of Babel. They were showing you the rope right here. And remember when he hung upside down? He was stuck upside down for like a day. All of it is symbolism. All of it symbol. Wait till I break down the full From series. We waiting on season 4, but wait till I get into the Beothuk Canadian native indigenous people. That's what the whole show is about. And the first ship that landed in the Beothuk region in Canada, the ship was called the Matthews. And the first family that we see enter Fromville, their last name is Matthew. We're going to break this thing down. They had to kill the black man again. And he was on some dumb shit. He deserved what he got. They could have did it another way, but he deserved. I don't think he deserved to be killed that way, but he deserved what was coming for him. But they showed a Confederate or a Union. He's a Union soldier with one eye. That could be his reincarnation. But this is the one eye symbolism because your girl, what's her name again? Sarah previously was possessed by the creatures in the town, which the creatures in the town are the archons, once again, just like the flying monkeys in Oz. But the creatures in the town started to speak in her mind and convince her what she was and what she wasn't, and what she needed to do to free everyone from being in the trap of the dimension. They're in this pocket dimension and can't escape it. So she interrogates Elgin, which is the black boy, and ends up, well, this is what she says. She says, quote, Boyd hasn't allowed for this place to take his soul, but this place already has my soul. So she was willing to do the egregious thing to make sure that they got what her name, Fatima back, because Elgin had kidnapped Fatima so she could feed the monster that was growing inside of her, which was Smiley being reborn, because they're immortal. So real crazy stuff went down in this season. And anybody notice the boy of white grew overnight? I don't know what that's a symbolism of, but he just grew overnight. People were making memes about him. Like, how this motherfucker grew in one day? Of course he has to grow in real life. We understand that, but they were just laughing. You know, and we broke down to 47. So you go on Patreon, we went through the rest of it. But that's what's going on with From right now. So let me get to the lecture real quick. I want you guys to send the video out, like it, and rewatch it later on, because it's going to be some interesting stuff we're about to get into. So the name of the video is Nos Magicus Tempor. Nos Magicus Tempor. It stands for, in Latin, our magical time. We are in our magical time now. Today is the tithi of the moon. Today's tithi of our moon is Shukla Paksha Dwitya. Shukla Paksha Dwitya is the waxing phase. We're in a bright fortnight moon tonight. And this is the phase when the moon leaves a period called Amavasya in Vedic astrology. Amavasya is a period where the elites gets the most power out of their black magic. It's the new moon. And when it leaves Amavasya, it enters into Purnima, which is the full moon. That's what we're heading towards. And this is a time, the reason why I tell you that, this is a time in this Tithi when something you lost will be returned to you. That's either metaphysical or is actually matrix based from the physical. Something is about to be returned to you. So everybody come back in here for the lecture and tell everybody come back. I know sometimes them shows, some people don't want to hear it. I get emails saying, I don't like, I want to watch the show. So some people leave and come back. So the next paradigm of our assignments is in the synesthesia of our spiritual upgrades. We were speaking about the last 2 weeks on Patreon, how to potentiate your DNA with light codes reacting to this thing called tachyons. Let me get in my notes to read that tachyon information. What is the tachyons? The function of the tachyon is to slow down the aging process and to supply the energy of the subtle organized energy fields within you, but it causes entropy to decay. It reverses decay. And it was the prima material of the ancient alchemists of old. Hold on one second. Tachyon energy is the condensation of unlimited 0-point energy. Take that note. The condensation of unlimited 0-point energy, slowing down the speed of light. Let me say I have my photo for the tachyon so you can see it up here on the screen. Tachyon. I thought I brought that photo over. Give me 1 second, guys. Okay, here it goes right here. So the tachyon is the condensation of unlimited 0-point energy that slows down the speed of light. As soon as your subtle organizing energy field has conversed or traversed into the tachyon field, it becomes the frequency of a smaller energy unit called pions. The pion will expand and evolve into a muon. And this on a subatomic level is what's happening in your dreams. I'm going to explain it all in a minute. So first, from the unlimited 0-point energy, there is a derived tachyon energy that is conversed into a frequency of what's called a pion. Then out of the pion, it becomes a muon, and finally into an electron. 0-point energy is what we're speaking about and how that occurs within the torus or the vortex. We're going to give you a different perspective of it today. Tachyon energy simply means energy that moves above the speed of light or at the light speed threshold. And pions is just below the light speed. Muons is below light speed as well. But the tachyon to pions are first elemental particles of the tachyons. So we're talking about the fractalized form of what tachyons is. It's units of pions. Breaking down the physics real quick. Now, what the tachyon energy is doing for frequencies is organizing and developing your subtle organizing energy field into perfect forms. It does this during a duration of a lifetime. That's why we told you to go. If in the beginning of the video, if you came here later, you're probably a little bit confused, but we spoke about or discussed how the tachyon energy plate that Bobby used to wear and I used to wear, I wore it for 7 years. It changes what your claircognizance is, your spiritual ability. Yeah, we're going to talk about superpowers, all of that. We get into that in a minute. You said, is the signal of thought faster than the speed of light? Absolutely. Absolutely, it's faster than the speed of light. So from pion to muon, the muon has a subtle organizing energy field. We call it a SOF, 10 times bigger than the pion, which is below light speed. So when the Soph of the muon is reciprocal to the tachyon, the orbit of the subtle organizing energy field expands. That's what happens in dreams. What it's talking about, let me go back to my notes. Today, we're going to discuss decoherence within the multiverse, which is called many world theory, tactical claircognizance, the mysteries of dark matter, and dream physics and how to utilize it. But we're going to do it from a Hebrew perspective, and I'm going to bring it back full circle so you can see it from a much larger DNA perspective. Well, I'm going to start with the DNA because that's what's most important. Potentiating your DNA right now prepares you to receive the tachyons, because if you don't do nothing to potentiate it, you ain't really doing shit. And I'm going to tell you how I've been receiving my gnosis, even when I met up with this entity called Nema, way back when I dropped that video, famous video of mine called Nema. We just got it back. Shout out to B Swords for sending me the flash drive with all of my old channel videos on it. I haven't seen that video about 3 years. Uploaded it on Patreon. So the tachyons come from the potentiation of your DNA with light codes reacting to our bioenergy field. We've been instructing the family to purchase this thing called a Me 528 tuning fork. What is this thing going to do? It's going to help to begin accessing scalar waves within your heart chakra. That's why I meant to say Elphaba also is the heart chakra. The green also represents the heart chakra. Inside of your heart exists a goddess inside of us. We have a goddess that lives inside of our heart when we make rational decisions instead of outside of the emotional, because the emotion can affect the goddess because it's a feminine energy. But the rationale is also a part of this goddess figure within us to make clear, concise decisions of what we do in life. And that's Mayat. There's a video of me on this other guy's, I don't mean to call him other guy. He's a good friend now. His name is Mark from My Family Thinks I'm Crazy. Shout out to you, Mark, as well. There's a video coming out when I break down the Mayat continuum. Excellent video. It's probably going to come out in the next couple of days. Mark needs to send me that video. We've been waiting on it for a week, but we did it last week, and it's going to come out real soon. And that goddess inside of you is a form of Mayat and Lakshmi in the Vedic text. Yeah, Mark PS. Yes. Shout out to Mark. Yeah, that one was a good one. Me and Mark got deep. We covered the metaphysics. We covered some of the transhumanism. We also went into the racial matters. We got real deep. That's a real down to earth brother right there. We dealt with it. So this 528 hertz tuning fork is going to help access the scalar waves of the heart chakra of that goddess in you. So you tap it early in the morning and you sing or harmonize your mantras that we give to you in your Vedic astrological reading. There's certain mantras that connect you to the nakshatras that your soul was born from. We can calculate these things. You also, what Kalini said, you can utilize the 528 frequency. She was telling me what she does that's very powerful. And what I started to utilize is uttering the chakras mantra sounds, like Vam, Ram, Lam, then you have to open up the rest. It takes time. It doesn't happen immediately. But she says when you utter Ram or Vam, when you sing that and harmonize with the 528 tuning fork, that's how you open the portal. We just opened it. For some people, it takes a low marginal time. Other people, it may take a week for you to open up that chakra portal. Because what it's doing, from what she's describing, you're cleansing the dinginess, the dirt, the smog from around your light body. That's how the soul communicates, is through the sound. So you're starting to clean. You're doing astral hygiene of cleaning yourself by doing this repetitively in the morning and before you go to bed, or just find a period during the day to get it in good. But I like to do it when the sun and the moon is in certain positions. You can get this from Amazon. You can get this thing for $20. We don't make nothing expensive. It ain't mine. It ain't my product. I don't know where it is coming from, but I got mine. And then, yeah, you can get the Nikola Tesla positive energy purple disc. And that on as well. You say, how do you feel about singing bowls and their effects? Singing bowls is cool. The Tibetan singing bowls, we used to sell that in the shop. But I like the 528 frequency because it's the same frequency as water. What did Jet Li say? Be like water. Be like water. That's a big mystery. So at the beginning of the year, we discussed this supervoid that was detected. Who remember that? Put your hand up. You remember us talking about this supervoid that they started to call it a cold spot. This article came out. New approach uses observed local supervoid to give expansion of the universe to an extra push and solve the Hubble tension. Then they put the chaos symbol right here, and all of that plasma, that melanin, looks like the plasma and melanin that I've been showing people that connects to the brain's neuron tacits. It's all the same thing, family. It's all the same thing. Why people say you talk about melanin so much is it's connected to the shit I'm talking about. That's why. So the supervoid was detected by these astrophysicists out there in the Boötes and Draco constellation. Then we had the Mother of Dragons comet pass Earth earlier around that time. Now, if you understand what's going on, everything out there is happening inside of you. If you don't believe it, that's on you. But you got to recognize this. We can see in Hermeticism, which Hermeticism simply means the study of melanin. Bobby broke that down, or the study of alchemy in melanin. How everything within the super force of kinetic potentiality that's between the stars is a reflection of correspondence to the programming down here in the lower spheres, as above, so below, as within, so without. That supervoid was an indication that the cold spot generated, if not one, but multiple portals inside of the Earth's Kundalini back into our spirit bodies. Hold on, guys. I heard my son in here. I don't know what he's doing. Hey, what you doing? You okay? All right, family. You all right? Playing with them monster trucks. So, multiple portals inside the Earth's Kundalini and your spirit bodies. We have electrogenetics alchemically responding to the cosmic theme of cycles that generates the cold fusion. Now, Mark, if you want to read more on what I'm talking about, Mark Balfour wrote a book called The Sign of the Serpent that I speak about frequently. It's taking me time to get through this book. It's called The Sign of the Serpent. They don't even have it really online anymore. When you look for it, The Key to Creative Physics. This was a gem of a book they've been hiding. Yeah, we're talking about inner alchemy. That's what we're speaking about, inner alchemy. But we're going way deep into it. The Sign of the Serpent, The Key to Creative Physics. In the book, he's talking how the serpent, the Naga, is a word etymologically rooted in another word called the seer bin. The seer bin means the light of Sirius. The light of Sirius. Indicating in creative physics that the ion movement in our intracellular membranes operates in patterns to the avatars that are present within us, within the ether. So we have several avatar bodies, just like we have several chakras, we have other states of consciousness. So if you got a lot of chakras, that means you have different emotional bodies. If you have different emotional bodies, that means you have different spiritual bodies, different logical, metalogical bodies. So now you're creating a theme. There's a whole world living inside of you, Bobby used to talk about, or maybe a whole universe living inside of you. And if there's a universe inside of you, black holes, white holes, that means that there's deeper themes, whereas these universes have cascades or reflection mirrors of other universes, which means inside of your mind is a whole multiverse. I'm going to break that down for you today. So our breathing via technique. So while you're doing these exercising of cleansing your chakras, your aura with the mantras, the 528 me frequency, also playing the heavenly chords we gave out on Patreon to everyone, how the harp instrument is different than any other instrument on the planet, and putting a metronome on it to access the subconscious in your meditation. Changing your breathing technique, Hatha Yoga, Raja Yoga, Shushumna, the Shushumna Yoga, Kundalini Yoga, Dragon Breath. There's all types of techniques. What you're breathing, the shifting of your Qigong or your, there's another Qigong technique too I've been reading about, or Qigong practice I've been reading about that I might mention on Patreon soon. I just got to see what the implications is of what this particular author is speaking of. But the breathing techniques you use implicate something called a causal reaction to the medium of ether to give a unique rise to how we alchemically draw out the light codes within the celestial dance. Big note right here. Or by way of saying celestial dance, we're talking about the ongoing interaction between matter and space-time. The spiritual work we put into recognizing patterns of the alchemical process that we inhibit in our day-to-day karmas is determined by the celestial body's movement that gives us roles. So we're saying that the celestial bodies is a refraction of mirroring movement down here, and is giving us roles while we're in our spiritual practice so that we can become these different expressions of the deities recorded in history. or biblical figures. If you want to go with the Bible, you could be Jacob, Matthew. They're all the same shit. Archetypes, deity. Deities ain't nothing but archetypes. Archetypes ain't nothing but deities. Psychological nodes of experience. So there's you become, you're going through this enlightenment day to day through your karmas determined by the celestial body's movement to give us roles in the enlightenment so that we can become the deity's expression within the spiritual process of ascension. The whole thing is a recognition that we are in a specific deitic pattern that gives rise to clear cognizance. Clear cognizance simply means you see esoteric lessons on a higher level psychically. You are a psychic of esoteric lessons of the soul. Is where clear cognizance means. The recognition that we are in a specific deitic pattern that gives rise to clear cognizance of the underlying role that we take on esoterically so we can see reality's cataclysms with the divine. So the reason why my information resonates to a lot of people or resonates to people differently, that's only because my clear cognizance of the metaphysical through taking on these roles of these deities have rendered a feedback loop into what's called the Transcendental Creator's mind. That's the Gnostic God, or they call it the alien God in John Honus John's book. What is it called? The Alien God by Honus. Oh, let me look up the book. It's a Gnostic book called The Alien God. Hans Jonas, Message of the Alien God. I knew I was fucking up something with it. Y'all know I got to fuck up one word. It ain't a good video if I don't fuck up a word. It's too perfect. The Gnostic religion and the alien God in the beginning of Christianity by Hans Jonas. In that book, he's talking about the same thing I'm speaking on, and how in these meditative states and spaces, there's something you're supposed to be accessing in codes. There's a feedback loop after you've taken on the light of these deities. And the creator's mind is buried inside of your subconscious. There's always been there. There's many creators in the process of creation, but religion is forcing us to worship the physical creator of this cookie cutter dimension, which limits the kinetic potential of your soul's expression by worshiping something else outside of your alchemical journey to become the Christ. Even Jesus quotes in the Bible, "You will do greater things than me." And these different denominations of Christianity created by these patristics of the Christendom fractalize the information from the ancient practice of raising yourself up to be the light in the physical form. Then the Freemasonic tradition used Christianity as a vehicle to simulate the priesthood system of becoming the light. And we covered that on Patreon class last week, how all the Freemasonry ain't nothing but a Gnostic drama played out in the lodge by what they call apprentices to the Master Mason, which ain't nothing but how the light, the Master Mason represents the light or Lucifer, and the apprentice represents the physical body that was slain by the three ruffians, which ain't the 3 ruffians are the archons in the Gnostic text. We covered all of that on Patreon. We covered a whole Master Mason ritual. But you must understand this: no group is ever going to get you to the level that you are going to be at. We only use knowledge in echo chambers to encourage the integration of merging our essence into the universal currents of reifying our conditions while in this cocoon form called human. You become what's called in the book, The Physics of Darkness by W.H. Mueller, the cosmozoan. When you're longing to reify your condition in this cocoon called human form, you become the cosmozoan that wants to become a part of the dimensional Turing wave of the void. Everything is a Turing wave in this complex system of morphogenesis. We are in the 4th wave process in physics to become a totally different light pattern, unlike the rest. They call it the shining trapezoid in the occult. In W.H. Mueller's book, let me put this book on the screen for you. I don't know if they got a picture of it, but it's called Necro Yoga, The Physics of Darkness, a must-get book that we covered on here already. If you haven't started reading, yeah, they got a picture of it. Yeah, they make it look all evil so they can run all the people that it ain't for away. They got to make it grotesque to run your ass away. The Physics of Darkness, he explains this new light out of the 4th wave that you're becoming out of the synthesizing of this system of morphogenesis, the morphogenesis process. In Hebraic terminology, he displays the process. It's also called, this new light is also called the Syrian light, or the light of Enki in the Sumerian text, that allows us to communicate what's in the Gnostic, the Nag Hammadi library. They call it Kanoma, which is the void. It allows us to communicate to the void, and inside of the void is the medium of ether, which our multiverse avatars, its conscious fields is located in the void, in the black holes, in the dark matter. All of these, it gives us access and rise to another universe. So I'm getting ahead of myself just saying multiverse, but let me explain this. The Physics of Darkness book Mueller wrote describes something called the aim. The aim is this thing projecting out of this cosmic form of Buddha's head. It's also the one-eye symbolism. This is how you project out of your body when you're in hyperspace. We also gave you the book Surfing Through Hyperspace. The aim is called the ajna. The one-eye symbolism is a meta-psychological symbol for physics on a subatomic level. And the eye is nothing but the 0-point energy field. Big note. The eye that you see in Illuminati, they're describing the 0-point energy field. In the 0-point energy field is the nucleus of cosmic matter. So now you know what's in the 0-point energy field, the nucleus of cosmic matter. Yeah, we're going real deep today. So our body is Adam or Edom. In the Sumerian text is called Udumu, which means the sunset of the underworld, also signified by the animals, the sheep and the goat. The sheep and the goat are both enigmatic animals of Christ's energy. They're enigmatic because they don't They act a certain way that we can't figure out why they do what they do. Then you have Umu out of Udumu. Umu means mother. And another etymological root term is Uman or Umun, U-M-U-N, which means blood and tissue. So we have this blood, out of the blood and tissue, the mother, the sheep and the goat, the sunset of the underworld. Essentially, they're talking about this feminine energy coming from what is proposed to be the black sun inside of us, inside of our body, within the tissues, layers of, the layers of skin deep inside of our body. So the sheep in the underworld signals in the text Tiamat, the Egyptian Mayat, in her true form, who is the mother of the Sirius star. She becomes the symbol. She becomes symbolized as the sheep and the goat, and the sheep and the goat becomes the symbol of Sirius after the flood of Noah. Hold on, buddy. Close my door. Dumu means storm mother. This is a big note right here. If I've lost you, just take a pause, because we're gonna cover exactly what I'm saying. We're gonna finish it. I've seen a lot of people dropped out. That's good, because knowledge is a privilege to break you through it. Dumu means storm mother, which makes reference to, in the Kabbalah, something called the Bereshith. Keep that term in your mind. Bereshith. So you got this word called Dumu, Uddumu, and you got Bereshith. The word Dumu means storm mother, and Bereshith means in the vortex. Now, what does in the vortex or the storm mother represent? It's the same thing. In Kabbalah, it represents the spiritual process, means that you are inside of a vortex. You see? Now, didn't we just talk about the Wizard of Oz and all of the stuff that we were speaking about? You are inside of a vortex right now. This process is also transliterated into the word Rashid or Bereshid. It used to be Bereshith, now it's Bereshid, which means in the shed of the vortex from the other side. Now, what do they mean by the other side? Now we're talking about multi-temporal consciousness of our avatars. That means that when you dream, hold on, I'm gonna wait to say that. Let me slow walk it. The word Sheed in Hebrew is also a term for demon in the backside of the tree of life, the tree of death, or the Klippa. They're called the Sitra Atra, which is our subconscious. The chiral points of our subconscious is the traumatic interruptions in our life, is when the rhythm of the universe produces spatio-temporal actualization. Only through your trauma is the way that you're going to become spiritual. That's the only way why you made it to the video in the first place. So these chiral points is the traumatic interruptions in life, when the rhythm of the universe produces a spatio-temporal actualization. Then you go into the vortex, which the vortex is where the Torah gets its term Taurus. The Taurus field is the creative power given to us by God through the 22 channels of the tree of life, or our chakras, which are the tree of life, bioluminescent lights within our body. We got thousands of chakras. We got 22 channels of it out of 7 main ones. 22 paths of the soul. You can look all of this stuff up. This ain't nothing new. Everyone knows about it. If you've been in the esoteric, you understand there's 22 channels. We then get the arrival of this Hebrew term called Shin. Shin meaning the root function to the speed of light. Remember that. The root function to the speed of light. So we're talking about a functionality of how this torus field gets to spin and become a function to the speed of light. That word earlier I mentioned, shed, that was for demon, it becomes shin, and it eventually becomes sin. Hold on, I got a graphic for this. Because I know some people, a lot of people they can't get this information because you need to show certain people pictures for them to focus. And I understand that. This is the shin. This what becomes sin in the Bible. Also, sin is the term for moon in the Sumerian astrology of planets. The word sin means moon, but it also means sine wave. That's the serpent again. The nephesh is the sine wave. Now, the word shed, which means demon, then you get shin, the root function to the speed of light, then you get sin. It means sexual energy in the human dimension. Sexual energy in the human dimension. So if all of us have sexual energy, but it means if you're not utilizing your sexual energy to increase your spiritual prowess, then you're wasting your sexual energy. Simply by not just using your sexual energy to go into a physical endeavor with yourself or with another person is when you're beginning to become a sage. You're taking the transference of code fusion from one core, your root chakra, to your crown, to your ajna, your throat. You're taking it and you're putting it somewhere. I'm explaining where you're going to put it, but it's going to be through your imagination. You see? Right. But it has to be a spiritual orgasm. Instead of just wasting your chakra, your sperm, your Venus energy, your Venusian energy has to be utilized. And there's a way to turn your sexual fluid into an actual vortex inside of you. It's hard to explain, but I'm gonna go in it. I'm gonna go into it. Right. They support in the lower frequency. Right, Brian. So the sexual energy in the human dimension is sin, shin, shed, and the resistance of light against darkness. Interacting with the shin, the speed of light or the functionality, we are given something called the resh when we interact with our shin. When we interact with this functionality, the resh will bestow to us the creator's mind. Now we get to look at reality of what's occurring. When I explained earlier, when the planets are in a celestial dance, you're taking on these different forms of deities. Through the algorithm, astrologically, of the planets during different times, this cosmic dance that we're in right now, that becomes mythology with characters and archetypes, you can enter into what created the dance in the first place. It's not the creator of the physical, it's the transcendental creator. They call it the alien god, it's called Xenos or Shemayim, Shamayim, or there's all types of terms for it, but it's this pre-existent energy that comes from the black dot, which is the monad in the Gnostic text, the one. The absolute. That means this is before all of this shit. This before Yahweh, is before all. It's almost out of this dimension. When you can enter the Resh by doing what we stated before, you're now in the Creator's mind. When you're in the Resh state, that's when the code fusion is in your head. Exclamation point. You have now risen the vortex spiral into your head, and you're keeping it there. Remember, the powers of God that he gave is the vortex, is the swirling, or the spin. It's in the head now. You have to imagine these things too. It starts to connect. You imagine a gold cord slowly wrapping up your spine, and imagine centripetal force moving up. And you can hold this energy in your head that you brought up through meditation. Very rare aspect. Once it's in your head, once you enter the Creator's mind now, you will create something, a Hebrew word called the quaf, a word meaning breaking through the waters of the flood. What does that mean? Remember, I told you in the Omni Aqua Corpus video that the original flood, Jehovah in the Bible, or Enlil wiped out creation. You heard about the Noah story. The real story is the Atlantean suit, or the Babylonian Atlantean story, where they explain that the creator of this realm got mad because humans were popping out of their body. They were soul traveling out of their head, and the sound of them popping out of their body got aggravating to him because they were going back into the fish form, into the cosmic waters, just meaning becoming a form of light. All of these words, it confuses people, but they were going back to Sirius. And Jehovah was mad because the sound of us coming out of our body made him angry. So what he did, he sent a flood down to the lower worlds, and he says, I will make sure they won't make that sound anymore. And it was an esoteric analogy to burying our souls deeper into matter so that we couldn't reach our ships to star travel, soul travel interdimensionally inward. So he buried our soul deeper inside of us so we couldn't access the light codes. That's what the flood is. I just said, if you enter into the Creator's mind, you can create this Hebrew word called a quaf, a word meaning to break through the waters of the flood. That's exclamation point. If y'all not listening right now, you're going to have to play this back. You're going to have to play it back. The word quaf is QOPH. Yeah, Enki is nothing but our higher self that was traversing the cosmic waters. Enki is Poseidon. Matter of fact, the Shin symbol is a symbol of Enki's trident. See, every video I put out on YouTube is supposed to be a piece of the remedy to getting out of here from various interpretations, for you to recognize your own way of how to do it. I give out so much information so you can sift through it and you figure out how you're going to do it. I'm not going to tell you, I'm just giving you enough so you can sort through it and you make the decision on how you're going to get the fuck out of here. I can't do it the same way you do it. You can't do it the same way I do it, but we can meet somewhere and understand it. So by breaking through the flood, the Shin will give you the ability to manipulate magical will of the deity that you took form of, that I explained earlier, during the astrological transit of the cosmic drama, the particular nakshatra. You have now the magical will to manipulate the energy of that deitic sequence. And yeah, it ain't for everybody. I know you said melanated challenge, your melanated challenge, melanatedly challenged. That's hilarious. Oh, okay. I see what you mean, APB. No, don't worry about that. It's not melanatedly challenged. This don't got nothing to do with being melanated or not. This got something to do if you understand what you is. See, it's the same story of the hare and the tortoise. You may not get it as fast as everyone, but the person who said, "Oh, I know that word," boom, 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 they spitting out, "Oh, that's this letter, that's this and that." Because you work methodically at it, you will gain you will gain the ability to traverse out of this reality at the end of the day. And that's what it's all about. Well, yeah, I'm not saying that directly to you, APB. I'm just using what you said as a teaching lesson to someone who's listening. If you don't get this, that's completely understandable. By breaking through the flood, the Shin gives you the ability to manipulate magical will of the deity that you take form of, as I explained earlier during the astrological transit of the cosmic drama. When we are living in the frequency which modulates day to day, we become stage performers of that deity. Every day you are performing just like these actors. You just don't know it. The only thing difference is these spiritual systems, they allow these energies to possess them. I'm not going that route. Ain't nothing can take me over. I'm me. So we become stage performers to recognize through clear cognizance that the spiritual task is to obtain a new angle of light from the fractalized shedding. Through the Shin, we obtain that light formula. And brilliantly nail the performance of the stage. The stage performer will nail the performance brilliantly. Tongue twister. So you will nail the performance if you obtain the light formula. Does that make sense? God damn it. This is about 100 years of synthesizing something in a goddamn video. That's why I put my head. When I give you this, trust me, it's not in any fucking book. It's not in a book. So you brilliantly nail the performance, then you download it into your light code. Now you've become the bearer sheaf in the beginning, the storm. Now you've become the vortex. Put a 1 in the chat if it makes sense. Now you become the vortex. Here, now that we're the bearer sheaf, the storm. That's why all of this stuff is about the storm, the calm of the storm. All of this, the storm shit is Hebraic, Jewish, apocalyptic, esoteric analogies of the soul that they ain't gonna tell your ass. Here at this point, we synthesize the new download and new information, and is given to us to complete the next portion of our journey. You've been made renewed for the new cycle that you must conquer. That's the whole Jesus concept. Now you have become the Christos. It's called the Twav, T-A-V in the Hebrew system, the Tau, the cross. You are now the cross. And in magic, the crossed must be negated. So your lower cells that exist in the Qliphoth, the backside of the tree, or your trauma, or your beastly desires, will not be fed from the Twav's new energy, its new light that it obtains from the vortex. You don't want to feed your lower frequency. You want to starve it. The beastly energies is in Beth, the root chakra. The beastly energies must remain open and separate from the upheaval of energies given from the rise of the new ideated spiritual mind, so that the vortex can be evolutionary positive, opposite from the involutionary negative. Your lower selves is the universe of darkness within you, and your higher self is the universe of light. Both will be penetrated, pause, but in due time. But both together represents the formation of what the letter X represents. That's why we're leaving out the year of the X. The light fertilizes the darkness, releasing phallic fertilizing energy into the matrix, which forms a field called memory. Memory is the Hebrew word mem, M-E-M, Hebrew for water. Now we circled all the way back to the water. This mem, or this field that's released through the light and the darkness, is morphogenetic in nature. This memory field is the nucleus in which all creation criteria is necessary for the individual's evolution to be stored. The Kabbalists, or the Cabal, calls this nucleus Luz, L-U-Z, which means core, the essence, the bone, or the concentration from which we derive the name Lucifer. This is the storage area of consciousness, like a computer. So here it goes again. This word doesn't even mean what they said it means. We're talking about a storage, a mainframe storage for the computer, for that new light to download. Here we receive supra-sensory perception in real life, just as the Christ did, the Christos. We're now in the deitic time to perceive what eras that the chaos within us. We're now here to perceive what errors in the chaos within us needs to be ordered or rendered back correctly for the next transmutation. Now we broke through that. Now that we broke through that, this is the dream nodes have. We're going into the dream nodes. What does the dream means to the multiverse? That's what all of these little pockets or these bubbles of faces is. It's nothing but different multiverse forms of yourself that you're dreaming of their reality, they're dreaming of yours. And nobody can break this mystery in metaphysics. There's like 1 or 2 books on it, and they're real vague about it. In physics, nodes are produced when 2 waves of the same frequency, all of these people have the same frequency, or if they're different frequency, they're the same person, just in a parallel reality. Nodes are produced when 2 waves of the same frequency traveling in opposite directions interfere destructively with each other, effectively canceling out the wave displacement at specific points. This phenomenon typically occurs with the standing wave system, where reflections create waves moving in different directions. So I explained what nodes are. The different dreams are the different heads of what's called the Kadosha's network. The Kadosha is they call it the head of the Holy Spirit. It's like the lead I preference this word, the yakada, but it's the top portion of what we call the higher divine spirit. It's called the kadosha. Our dreams are different heads of the kadosha's network. So the divine spirit has a network, and it works through the multiverse parallel avatar bodies of yourself that you dream about all the time, and they're dreaming of you, or they're dreaming of the other multiverse realities of yourself. Think of the dream nodes as different living parts of receivable memory in the stream of supersensory waveforms from the unconceivable fractals of gnosis. These are the tachyons I mentioned earlier that rises out of the melanin, the primordial permeating intelligence within the essence of darkness, called the anti-pi equation in the physics of darkness, 3.74. We even have the number for it. In the physics of darkness is the other side. 3.74 signals the other side. The side that sank into darkness with the fall, and it broke up the vessels called the Allahims. That's the different avatar bodies. It's called the Allahims, not Elohim, the Allahims. They were severed from the Al Chai, the living part of God, any portion of God that's above the torso, if he had a body, if the concept of a body, anything that's above the torso is the Al Chai. This created an odd polarity that caused a rift in the androgynous primordial worlds. It is from this rift in space and time that the current universe becomes evolved. We can therefore equate cosmic evolution to an outpouring of light, a universal flood of light that's suppressed in the Taslalim, which is the shadow. It's suppressed in our shadow, which is the melanin. Once again, goes right back to the same thing. This is where Sophia hid the light from Yahweh in the Gnostic text. She became the shadow, or it's called the shade. She slumbers inside the shadow within us. And when we slumber, when we go to sleep, we enter into forgetfulness. We enter into her, but we forget what's happening here. This is the death, which is the shadow is oblivion, the end of memory. The fractals of light in the tachyon produces a bridge over the water. That means to another conscious field where the Allahim slumbers across time. These bridges are where multi-temporal awareness develops inside those who activate the Shin inside of their vortex. They become aware of how to slip into the third tree of the Kabbalah in the Qliphoth, which is the new light. Remember, Kabbalah means receiving light. Qliphoth means suppressing light. Or Rasha, the third tree, means awakening the light. Transmitting light codes to the avatar's light codes. And we become awake inside of a parallel reality. This is how to enter into another conscious field. Literally, I just gave you the whole manuscript on how to do it. Where prognostication can imbue into the ajna and crown chakra to begin a brand new storage of memory. That means on the other side of the multiverse, the conscious field becomes a storage mainframe for you to have a new memory. That means working with the third tree in the dream nodes is where in the branches of the third tree are the nodes. The nodes are the unlimited angles of prescience into the esoteric world. What do I mean by that? Basically, when I say claircognizance, when you have a divine psychic nature to process esoteric information, some of you are understanding exactly what I'm saying. Some of you is like, this motherfucker right here is crazy. The access to that claircognizance to understand what I'm saying, you will realize what I'm saying is gold. This is something that is beyond what they're discussing in physics. If you don't understand it, you're limited in your nodes, and it is what it is. I mean, you just have to do it either another lifetime or maybe when the process, When your Saturn is right in your chart, maybe it makes sense then. Here, the initiate may want to stay abroad in another cycle of light. So what I'm saying is some people will be able to literally enter into that other multiverse. That means the other parallel version of yourself. You can literally enter into their world while you're asleep. You will be fully conscious in the other world and have full access to that avatar. Biggest secret. Some initiates may want to stay abroad in another cycle of light. That means in the other universe, the parallel universe, and dream the day away in universe A. Each parallel conscious field is an angle of light outside the light continuum of this universe. It's a reduction process to tap into the primordial light continuum versus the holographic light streams. Since that super void opened, the bridges to the multiverse have opened up in the pineal's phenomenology. That's what they call it. The bridges to the multiverse have opened up in the phenomenology of the pineal. That means nothing you're dreaming 90% of the time is a reoccurring memory here. That means that we are getting abstractions to begin a comprehension to reduce down the clairvoyance that people ignore. Perfect movie is the movie Parallel to see what I'm talking about. That means that majority of the time when we're dreaming, you don't know it, but you're not dreaming of memories you had here. That super void was an indication that the bridge to the parallel universe, the multiverse, the other versions of yourself, you're fully dreaming of different versions of yourself, and they're dreaming of you. That's what's going on. That's what's happening right now. I see the time, so I'm gonna open it up for questions. We're gonna end it there. We'll expound more on Patreon. Let me put a link in here if anyone wants to come up and ask a question. Let's keep it under 5 minutes if you do, because I gotta get out of here soon. And if not, we'll get up out of here and we'll prepare for the next Patreon video later this week. Let me exit this stuff out up here. Yeah, that was a long one right there, family. We went on a roller coaster ride. It's no problem. Thank you, Brother Phil. Y'all can put your questions in the chat if you don't want to come up. I'm still listening to you guys. What's going on, brother?
Peace, God. I'm a little loud in here, but peace, God.
What's going on? Okay, Brian just came in here to chill out. That's my brother Brian right there. You said, will the physical body go with the mind? No. No, it will not. I don't know what you mean. When you say go with the mind, I think, which I'm in my understanding, transcending beyond this realm. You got to be a little bit more explanative of what you mean with go with the mind. You said, do you see a relation to the 60 houses in the show Evil? Yeah, I broke that down plenty of times this year. That this is the 60th election. I broke all of that down with the 60 houses of evil. But I don't know if that's the correlation to the multiverse. I don't know about that, but it could be. It could be. It'd be interesting to look at that angle. No, the physical body is done. You can only take the mind. The physical body is here to be a machine. It's nothing but an organic machine here for you to experience the lower spheres of reality. The only thing that can traverse is your mind and your soul, which is a part of the same thing. It's a working system of each other. You said, I got a vocabulary app with widgets. The word today was transcendent. Phones tapped by higher forces. No problem. No problem. Sin. All right. We didn't have nobody come up here. We didn't get no question. So hold on. We just got one from Black Knight. Are the chakras a part of our karma? And can they be an aspect of shadow work? Chakras ain't nothing but your emotional dissonance that you have to correct so that you can expand into these areas of metaphysics that I lectured on tonight. The chakras are the emotions, the emotional bodies, and they're nodes within the spiritual continuum of your existence that you have to sort through so that the centripetal code fusion can make it up into the pineal or the upper areas that they call heaven in the Bible. It's called the upheaval. But it has to make it back and become a seed planted back in the consciousness to grow again. Same thing you do in the physical world with what you're doing when you plant. You got to plant stuff for you to survive. You got to plant spiritual aspects of yourself to survive in the spiritual realm. Same thing. And you do it through the Kundalini, which is the Kundalini and the chakras are the tree of life. So you get the concept of the seed growth and all of that. Go ahead, brother Phil. I'm listening to you, brother.
Yeah, that's good, brother Honey. I like what you're doing. Keep it up. You know, just letting you know to keep that thing going. If you get a chance, check out some silent films. If you go back and look at some of these silent films, they drop a lot of interesting jewels in them. You know, not hearing all the talking and all that kind of bullshit, but the imagery and then the words that they put on there. So check out some silent films from the 1920s if you ever get a chance.
Very interesting. I've checked out silent films like what is Charlie Chaplin and them, all them people or something like that. I used to check them out a while back when I was in film school. So I know exactly what you mean.
So, God.
What's up, Brian?
All right, going back to the chakras. So I'm just reiterating this. I hate big words. To myself.
Yeah.
Sex is always has been within and lives within the lower frequency. And that's how we get it twisted. It's a very difficult, thin line, right?
You said what is in the lower frequency?
Sex.
Yeah. In the lower chakras.
It's a very thin line. Right. You do it correctly, you know, you read the correct book as far as how to sit and all that stuff. Yeah. What's his name? What's the brother's name? I think he's like he's Filipino something. But I know you're talking about, but yeah. It's a very thin line.
Right. You talking about the astrological brother? Hold on, Brian, your phone went out. Might want to come in and come out. Can't hear you.
You hear me? You hear me?
Yeah, I hear you now. Go ahead.
I think it's Mia. I think it starts with a Mia or T. But he talks about the power. You know, keeping your power, keeping your chi, your power. But he wrote about two books. Like one book for men, and the other book he wrote it for women. As far as keeping that sexual chi within you, don't lose it. It's life, your life. You know what I mean?
Right. I know you're talking about that.
Yeah, you know what I'm talking about. I just don't have it in front of me. But yeah, it's a very thin line. I'm just making this aware to myself. More importantly, it's a very thin line.
Oh, you went back out. You went back out when you said thin line.
What is? You hear me?
Yeah, I hear you now. Yeah.
You hear me now? You hear me now? All right, bet.
Yeah.
Oh, it's my earphones. No, you gotta. It's a thin line. You gotta know how to do it correctly.
Yeah, Montauk Shia.
Montauk Shia.
Yeah, Adonijah, thank you.
Thank you, Adonijah.
Yeah, Brian, the way I like to look at it is, they say boxers and athletes, don't be fucking before you get in the ring or whatever.
Right, it's bad for the
so
knees.
You got a greater chance of winning. So,
it's bad for the knees. It's bad for the knees. And how funny that the knees was the one to explain to every single fighter. It's bad for the knees. You're going to fall. You're going to fall on your knee. Yeah.
Right. Let me get to these questions. It said, do you feel that the great separation between good and evil will be realized? Good and evil never existed, only perception. Says, what's the first steps would you say one should take when beginning to do their shadow work? The first thing you have to do is eliminate a habit that you have that no longer serves you. When you start with that, then we can start to deal with what main chiral energy of a traumatic experience that's at the core of why you embarked on this path. Something happened. And that's what the consultations is for. We always get to the bottom of it. Said, would we need to set any particular sort of intention to get further in our dreams? One thing, you have to eliminate smoking weed. That will completely destroy everything, because they got some type of nanosynthetic technology that ain't no marijuana you're smoking. And I'm not saying, I mean, y'all the gods, you can do what the fuck you want. But how it works, from what I heard over the last 10 years, anybody that smoked weed, they've been having problems dreaming, or at least remembering their dreams. So it's been an issue. All of that shit, all of that crap. So that's one thing you can do. Another thing is repotentiating your DNA that I started the lecture on. Potentiating your DNA. Yeah, drinking too. Yeah, drinking in that. But drinking, that's if you're a drunk. If you just take a little sip. I mean, like, if you just drink 2 times out the month to get a spiritual experience, nothing wrong with that. They don't call it spirits for no reason. Some people can work with it. That's a type of magic too, to work with alcohol. But some people use it. They use alcohol to escape their trauma or escape the world that the circumstances they're in. That's what all drugs and substances is. It says sex and be a bridge. Appreciate y'all. Appreciate you, Angela and Cherry. And who else? I missed somebody else that left too. I appreciate you. Let's see what else. Have lavender essential oils in a diffuser when you go to sleep. Help with dreaming. Do not immediately get out of bed when you wake up. Try to close your eyes and remember the dream. Right. That sounds more like a statement. Illicit mind. Says, what kind of intention would I need to set before sleep to enter these other levels? Well, you're not going to just enter these levels. You have to live out the mythology of the magical universe you create. That's why Patreon is important, that we show you. Before we got to where we're at today, it took me years to put the process together to understand what it's about. Every aspect of it is a part of it. The movies, the TV series, all of it is a part of your living universe and the magic of you creating your internal prognosis of the situation that you're in individually, because we're all individually going through the light codes, but all what you're watching, all of that is all integral to the whole thing. It's just some people don't know how to alchemize it through the imagination. That's why they try to take your imagination away when you were young. It's the most important aspect. That's why in the TV series you're gonna figure out it's the boy's imagination. The whole time it was his imagination. So living the magic is just as important than dreaming yourself into these interdimensional my bad, I had to mute your mic. I ain't meant to remove you, but it's the same aspect that of what you're asking, but you have to live it first. My bad, Brian. Were you saying something, or did your mic just come hot?
No, it got hot.
Okay. You said, damn, eliminating a habit that doesn't serve you. That's deep. Exactly. That's the first step I do in the consultation. I go through all of your habits. We talk about it. We sort through it. Then I say, you can't do that shit no more. And then when you leave the phone, I mean, we go deeper into some more advanced stuff other than that. But when you leave that phone, it's up to you to do what we talked about. I can't help you. I can't do it for you. But most of everyone who's done the consultation, they either emailed or they text me back or they called me back and said, look at where I'm at now just by doing that.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah, I'm listening.
How much is the consultation? At least tell everyone besides myself.
It's $60 for the minimum consultation is $60. I don't really put a time frame on it. We just talking till we get it done. Prototypically an hour or two. It don't take all day because I get directly to it. And we work through it. And a gematria decode, that's $80. I haven't changed those prices. I used to do all of this stuff for free. Y'all can ask everybody in the Skype group. I did it for free for 5 years. So your little $60 or $80 is worth every single penny. But we have to work on you. What you're going through. Hold on, I gotta mute you real quick, Brian. You got some stuff. But what you're going through is individual for you. It's not for everyone. It's for you specifically. I got you, brother. I see your message, brother, in the back channel. Let's see. Everyone is guided with different things, right? That's right, Charles. Don't look at everyone. You got to look at what inspired you. Sometimes you have to take talisman of what inspired you. What I mean by talisman, things that go back to your childhood and this is another answer, Black Stars, things that took you back to your childhood, to that emotional state. You have, if you need to, you have to get back active, even if it's an action figure or whatever it is. You have to start all over and get back into it. And the dreams is a signal that you're in the waveform. If you're starting to dream and the dream is coming in and you're recognizing there's a standard of dreams that you're having, and it doesn't resonate with a memory. It almost resonates with something outside of what you experience, but you know is you. Then you now know that you're entering into that state. You're now entering to that level that we talked about.
No, that's confirmation, God. That's confirmation. Because I was texting about Animal Speaks, the pocket guide, and now you tell me this. The way you told me is like, yo, yes, it's true. I won't reveal that personality that's been in my lifetime as a child, in my childhood, but I was in the gorilla realm. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I'll tell you that much. I was in the gorilla realm. And it was, right. But it was me doing the scaring, not me being scared. You know what I mean? Right. Yeah, but all right. Peace, God, I say.
Yeah, so that aspect, you take something that represents that and you start to incorporate, you got to start to incorporate the talisman, something that represents it. Then you got to understand at what astrological time, what deities is permeating around that time. You got to understand the mythology. This is this deity. Once you understand the archetypes, that'll help you. See, the more knowledge you have, the more angles of light that you have to work with it, to work with it. If you're limited in one portion of knowledge, then you have to sometimes go blindfolded and get the job done. And you can get the job done. It's kind of like shooting in the dark. You might hit the motherfucker 1 out of 10 times. But the more you know, it's clear-sighted. It's clear-sighted, and you can reach it. Go ahead, Brian. Oh, I thought you said something, brother. All right, let me go ahead and close out. Let me see. I think I got one more question. You say you had listened to one of the lectures, you fell asleep in your dream state. We had a conversation about the lecture. Fortunately, you didn't write it down. Yeah, that was your higher self. That wasn't me. That was your higher self, Angela. It just used me just as an avatar to relay some information to you. But see, we don't think it's important enough.
Yeah.
So the magical aspect of the reality is passing you by because you didn't think it was important enough. Go ahead, Brother Phil.
Yeah, Brian, for you, if you want, you can, if you say in the gorilla realm, you can probably get you a snake plant, put that in your house. And then there's some things that have helped me in the dream states, depending on where you're at. I'm out in the middle of the damn deserts and in the middle of nowhere. So rosemary grows really well. So you go back there and grab some rosemary, throw that into a pot with some water. You can use filtered water or just regular water from the tap. And then put that under your bed. So infuse your water and put that under your bed. Can help with your dream states. And you can use either a wooden bowl or a metal bowl. It depends. If you're in some shit where they're gonna collect all that mold and whatnot, don't use no wooden bowl. So that helps me out. It might be something useful for other folk. And then if you get a chance, you got cats or some shit or like wandering ass cats or following your backyard, go and put a little bowl of food out for you. They'll also help you in the dream world and whatnot.
Yeah, we talked about the significance of why all of the cat talk was this year, because the cats is a dimensional creature. It's an interdimensional creature. It's something else on the other side of the multiverse. I haven't quite figured out what it is, but it definitely, when they walk around, if there's a certain cats carry more frequency than other cats, but if there's a lot of them around, if it's a collective around, you'll notice some things that shifts in the reality with them being around. Definitely.
Yeah. Yep. And then check out oh, go ahead.
No, you said snake elm.
It's called a snake plant. Snake plant. Yeah, if you just look up snake plant, you can go to a Home Depot or a Walmart, get one of them things. Yeah.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I've been feeding cats for the past 3 days, man. They're at the door. They're at the window, man. I'm just feeding them from the window.
Yeah,
and black and white, brown and white, and all black.
That's good.
On the block. Yeah, they're on the block.
That's good. If you get a chicken, go and get a chicken. Get the gizzards out. The heart, the lungs, and the gizzards or whatever the fuck they call them. You take that and feed them. Put that out there. Plus, take another regular can of either you can use Friskies or whatever, some wet cat food, and watch what will happen if the cat decides to eat the live, the chicken, the actual heart and liver and all that versus the canned food. That cat's gonna take you into some magical places beyond this world, depending on your thoughts and your intentions on how you want to see it and how you look at it. It works for me.
Right.
That's what appreciate you, God. Thank
you.
So yeah, I'm gonna have to close out with that, family. Get to work. y'all have any more questions, or you want to inquire for the reading or the consultation or information in general, I just be talking to people sometimes. Just email me at startribe777@gmail.com, patreon.com/ what is it, THE_spiritual shade room, True Occult newspaper. And we're gonna be back on Patreon this week, so we'll see you guys who original patrons or new patrons. We'll see you guys then. So with that, Rimpoya, Oshulu, Ashe to the ancestors. I see you guys next time. Peace.
Peace.